Good morning, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. One more win. Just one more win. Well, and then a lot more wins after that. But we got to get this next one out of the way. Welcome in, everybody. So happy to be here with you on the home of the Padres, 97.3 The Fan. Name of our show is Ben and Woods. It's just an honor to be able to broadcast to you this morning. I felt this morning that this morning snuck up on me a little bit. I looked up and I said, oh, my God, it is almost time to roll. We will talk about everything that transpired last night. Got some good stories for you guys as well. But overall, man, I'm exhausted. I'm fried, but I feel so happy inside. I'm Woodsy. That is Paul Reindl. He's the executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Hey, how are you?
Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. Holy smokes, guys.
Good morning.
One win away. One win away from advancing to the National League Championship Series.
I have to.
Nine is the magic number.
Nine's the magic number.
I have to start by just absolutely telling Padres fans, you are incredible.
Elite.
It was maybe one of the best things I've ever seen at a sporting event in my life. The atmosphere inside the ballpark, around the ballpark, the energy that you all brought. And I count, even if you weren't at the game, I count the entire city. You could feel everybody was watching, everybody was supporting, everybody was loving. It was so different than the feeling at Dodger Stadium over the weekend.
Yeah.
There's so much anger and hostility in that place. You'll like walk in, and it's not a happy, excited place the way Petco Park was. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be a hater of the Dodgers, and I know there's a lot of fans up there, but it just was different. It was special, and anyone who, hey man, I promise you the Dodgers noticed it as well. Even though they were cheering against those Dodgers, I guarantee you every player walks in and goes, this is an incredible, incredible atmosphere for baseball, and Padres fans and Tier 1s that were out there, and so many of them said hello as I was walking around the ballpark yesterday in downtown. You guys are just amazing, and I just had to say that off the bat.
Yeah, Max Muncy, among other things that he said yesterday, but that was one of the things that he said when he was highlighting, the Petco Park and the atmosphere of Petco. I was there. It was bananas. Now, I didn't get there as early as I wanted to. We got a little bit of a late jump, Hannah and I did, but we drove down. It was like, I felt like a kid going to Disneyland. The traffic was pretty bad. But here's what you do. You always hear about it in, other markets, right, that have a lot of traffic. Wow, I can't get there till the 3rd. I mean, it's the traffic. Well, you leave early. You figure it out, and you leave early. You move things around. I had 2 babysitters, one, like, working shifts. Like, if there's a will, there's a way. So we got down there. We were only like 40 minutes before first pitch. So by the time we got some food, got to our seats, it was time for, all of the festivities. We timed it out pretty well. But sitting in that car for an hour and a half, waiting, just, I think I maxed out at like 24 miles an hour after the split. Honestly, like we hit the split, 24 was like my limit, right until we got downtown. But it was an excruciating drive, and you feel like a little kid on your way to Disneyland. You're like, I just want to get there. I want to get on a ride. Just get me to the park. I got to get a funnel cake. I got to get a corn dog. I got to get on a GD ride right now. This is brutal. And Hannah's talking to me, and I'm like, yeah, sure. I just want to get there. So finally park, walk in, and I got to tell you, dude, the feeling, like you just mentioned, the rally towels, the people smiling, so happy to be down there. The weather was perfect. And then you look up, and it's time for game time, and there's not an empty seat in there. Not one. Everybody was on time. Everybody was loud. Everybody was ready to party. It was an excruciatingly painful game to be at, but it was incredible. I loved every second of it. Now, I will tell you this. Paulie asked me this morning, you going to go tonight? I go, no chance. I'm not cut out for 2 nights in a row. I woke up this morning, and I felt like I got hit by a train. I drank a big old green juice I'm so emotionally fried right now. I got to watch this game on TV.
Like
I got
a potential game like tonight is the reward for suffering through the anxiety-ridden Tuesday night you spent.
You're absolutely right. You are not wrong. I don't know that there's a wrong answer here, but Sheil Seidler could text me and be like, "You want to sit in my seat tonight?" I'd be like, "I can't make it. I'm sorry. I can't do the traffic again." I cannot.
Right, if she texts you that, I'll take that.
She's actually the only one. But Paulie, I'm telling you, I saw my kids for 3 minutes yesterday also, and I'm like, I want to watch this game with my kids. I want to watch this game with Bo. I want to, hopefully clinch this thing tonight, but I'm so spent, bro. You don't understand. I had my hoodie up over my head and looking at the ground. If anybody was in my section, you probably might have taken a picture of me. I was staring at the ground. I could not watch when we were on defense, man. It was so painful.
And it underscores, I mean, as you, I'm sure there's a lot of fans waking up feeling that way, how stressful that was every pitch, and you feel exhausted just from watching. And it just underscores that these players who, this is their livelihood, this is what they've put, years and years of work into for one little chance at this moment. And they have to go through this every day. And they're not just watching with the stress. They have to perform. Their livelihood is riding on it. They're getting drilled by fastballs and fouling pitches off
their knees
sprinting
and stuff,
sliding, and they have to get up, and they don't get a choice to watch the game at home on TV tonight. They got to go and do it all over again and perform once again tonight. It feels like there should be a week off between playoff games, like football season.
Yeah,
like just do one every Sunday. And we'll play game 2 next week.
I thought
because it just feels like it's too much.
I thought the same thing this morning. Driving in, eyes were cloudy. I've got that thing that I get from screaming real loud. I told Hannah this morning. I go, I have that. Like I screamed so much last night that my head hurts. Like my head is really like it hurts. I'm like, I think I'm gonna pop a blood vessel. So I don't think it's really good for my health if I get out there and scream like I did last night. But it was incredible. I loved every second. Somebody says an aneurysm. You spelled it wrong too. That's the English. That's the one word. Well, there's a lot, but that's the main word in the English language. Guy comes up to me on the street, puts a gun to my head. If you spell aneurysm, you get to walk.
There's a Y in there.
Yeah, there's a Y in there. Your boy is dead. Spell aneurysm right now or you die. I'll be like, all right, pull the trigger. I've got no ANYEURSYM. I have no idea. No idea. He spelled it wrong in the chat too. That's how I feel. My head is tight. So I need to go home. I need to be amongst my family, and I need to just watch this game. Now, it won't be peaceful. I'll be pacing and screaming and stuff as usual, but watching that game in person last night, after the 6th inning, the joy of the second inning, and then the pain, the agony of the comeback, and then the ensuing brilliant pitching on both sides. Oh my God, they didn't do a damn thing, neither did we. Hannah looked at me, she goes, literally nothing happened after that. I go, no, nothing happened, but it felt like I was at a root canal watching that game. It was like laying in a dentist chair, just going, oh my God, when is this going to end? When is this going to be over? I'm so proud and happy for those guys. There's still so much to talk about, happenings that went on yesterday, comments, little digs, the same old crap that we always hear. Holy smokes, man. I ran into Skip last night. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about.
I mean, how stressful was it? I saw the stat this morning from OptaStats. The Padres are the first team in MLB history, not just postseason history, but any game in the history of baseball. So we're talking every team, 162 a year for, over a century.
Yeah.
To only score in one inning, not score after the second inning, give up a grand slam, and win the game at the same time. That has never happened in the history of baseball until last night. That's how stressful that was.
It's like the 5th time the Padres have done something this year that has never been done.
Yeah,
in the
you
history
just
of
had
the
to
game.
hold on for dear life with no safety net for 2+ hours as that game played out with every single pitch when the Dodgers were at the plate after Teoscar's grand slam. At least the tying run was up, if not the winning run or go-ahead run. Every single pitch could have been disaster for 2 hours, and they walked the tightrope all the way from the 3rd inning to the 9th inning without falling.
It's unbelievable. Here's the other reason, Paulie, that I think I would stay home tonight if offered tickets. I was at the game, so I didn't get to hear the broadcast. Now, people sent me little clips. People sent me a picture. My favorite picture I got last night was after the Padres scored 6 runs, and it's 6-1. There is a picture of Ken Rosenthal in the Dodgers dugout interviewing Dave Roberts, and it looks like he was about to cry. I'm not kidding. People were like, you have to go see this.
Which one, Ken or Dave?
Ken,
or both of them?
Ken. Well, Ken's face looked like he was about to cry. And they said, Woodsy, you have to hear this broadcast. And I said, well, I'm at the game. I can't do it. I was talking to my dad this morning. I go, I loved being at the game. It was so electric and epic to be there. I said, but my forte is watching the broadcast, coming in the next day and shredding them. I can't do that today because I didn't see it. I saw one clip of John Smoltz and Joe Davis absolutely pantsless talking about a fly ball. That's incredible, and I want to play it for you guys. It's a fly ball. And to hear them talk about this fly ball, you would have thought the guy put it out into the streets. It was incredible. So I know you guys, if you stayed home and watched the game, you saw it. You were texting me. You were DMing me. You were tweeting at me. You're never going to believe this. You're never going to believe that. I have to hear it. I have to hear it tonight. I want to hear it in their voices if the Padres can take care of business at home. That, to me, is better than being there. That's better than being there. The Joe Davis having to interview Fernando Tatis Jr. last night, I need to hear that. I need all of this. That's my favorite part of it. You know, being the petty troll that I am. I want to hear it. I got to see it and hear it, and let it anger me.
I know everyone wants to hear Jesse's calls. We've got all of those coming up in our Padres Wrap-Up. We will set the menu when we come back. But speaking of Jesse, remember yesterday when we had Jeff Passan on and he gave the incorporator word for Jesse? 2 days ago. No. Yes, 2 days ago. And he gave the incorporator word for Jesse for yesterday. Jesse not only pulled it off, he gave a bonus one for Jeff as well. So we'll play that for you when we come back. Set the menu and then off and running on a unbelievable Wednesday morning here, San Diego. I know we're all tired, but we are up. We are excited. And we are continuing this playoff run with you on San Diego's #1 sports station, the home of the Padres. Let's check traffic right now with Kelly Danek on 97.3 The
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
I did hear some of Jesse's call because I had to head back to the TV station in the 8th inning last night. So I heard him actually call the end of the game as I was driving back into the gates at Channel 10. And he did a phenomenal job, as you'd expect. But with so much tension and so much stress in that game, really couldn't imagine also having to add in an incorporator. But not only did he do that, Paulie says he added in two. He caught the interview with Jeff Passan and wanted to give him a little bonus yesterday.
Yeah, do you want to play the clip with Passan first?
Sure, go ahead. So
right,
this was from Monday when Jeff Passan joined us.
And before I go, guys, Jesse Agler, the incorporator, defenestrate.
I love that
I think
one.
we've done it.
We may have done that one. Yes, we have. We've exhausted the English language for Jesse. He nails it every time.
Okay. I have backups.
Okay.
Promulant.
Okay, the fake Simpsons word. I love that one. That's a good one. We haven't done that one yet.
I like onomatopoeia. Could we do boing?
Boing. That's a great one. How about that? Boing.
All right.
So we go to the 6th inning, I believe it was yesterday. Max Muncy up to bat.
1-0 is downstairs, 2 balls and no strikes. That's not a complaint, of course. It's great to see everybody behaving themselves, both on the field and in the stands. And there was a video that, came out on social media after the game on Sunday night of one of the nincompoops at Dodger Stadium throwing something into the Padre bullpen, and Estrada was really upset, understandably. Swing and a miss, 2-1. The reality is somebody throws a souvenir soda at you. It doesn't go boing. It hurts. And situation got pretty ugly there the other night.
Just for Jeff Passan right
Nailed
there. Congratulations to Jesse. Nailed it last night, as he always does. And so glad we get to continue to hear Jesse and Tony going forward. Game 4 is tonight, again at 6:08 with a 5:08 Eco Water SoCal pregame show as the Padres try to wrap up the series. We will, of course, talk about the decision, if you didn't catch it after the game last night, that Dylan Cease is going to start Woods on 3 days rest. For the first time in his career, Padres are going to send him out early. I know we'll both have some thoughts on that, Padres fans with thoughts on that. They could have gone with Martin Perez, could have gone, pieced together a bullpen game, but they are going to ask Dylan Cease to come back after, game 1, 3 days rest, and try to pitch again in game 4 tonight.
Yeah. You want my thoughts on it now?
We can hold. We can hold. I just wanted to tease it. Want to set the
That's what
menu
she
for the
said.
show today. We've got our Padres wrap-up coming up in our next segment. We will also, of course, have our Big League Wednesday and get playoff thoughts from our friends Adam Jones at 7:35 and Bret Boone at 8:35 following the entire postseason. The Mets, of course, moved 1 win away from the National League Championship Series yesterday as well. So
Dirt nap, dude.
if the Padres and Mets can get just one of the next 2, they'd be on a collision course for the NLCS, which, of course, the Padres would own home field advantage in that series. So it's possible game 1 of the NLCS could be at Petco Park on Sunday. We're not there yet, but that is something that is certainly now an increasingly likely possibility because of the Mets win over the Phillies in game 3 yesterday. They also will play game 4 today. Other than that, obviously we're just focusing in on last night's game, everything that happened. There were so many subtle moments, Woods, in the game last night as well, that contributed to the big inning for the Padres. Obviously, huge performances by the bullpen, one after another, just coming in and getting the job done. And that goes back to A.J. Preller, the moves he made in the offseason, and, of course, the moves he made at the trade deadline that came back and paid off in just an absolutely enormous way last night in that game.
Yeah, it's watching that inning last night, and then obviously watching the guys come in out of the bullpen one after the other and just pound the zone, not give in at all, be fearless, all of the things that you need, supreme confidence, and their manager having supreme confidence in them. Obviously, the 4-out save from Robert Suarez was one of the coolest things I have ever seen. And my wife said, I don't like this. And I said, I trust him. I trust him. I was texting people that were texting me. I trust him. I trust him. I trust him. I trust him. I had to feel that way. I did not want to let myself do the death spiral about Robert Suarez and his struggles in a few innings, in a few outings this year. And I did think of Clase the other night. I did think of Edwin Diaz. I did think of Devin Williams, who served it up and lost the game for the Brewers. These are elite closers. And I thought to myself, I've seen this guy do it too many times this season. And with a couple of days off, he's well rested. I love that move. I love it. I know Tanner Scott only threw 8 pitches. I know it. But when you give up a knock, if Tanner Scott had, he had gotten that lefty out, gotten Freeman out, no problem. Great move. I loved it. I loved the matchup with Teoscar, and so did Schulte. And I just said, I got to trust this guy right now, or I'm going to vomit.
I saw the sentiment echoed a few times on social media. Padres gave up a lot in terms of prospects to pick up Tanner Scott in particular, a rental, a guy who's going to be a free agent at the end of the season. And when you do that, you have no idea if you'll ever be in that situation where you truly need him. But I'd imagine when A.J. Preller was looking at his options, and, it's late July, and he goes, if we want to win the World Series, we'll probably have to go through the L.A. Dodgers at some point in the postseason. That will mean we will have to face 2 incredibly talented left-handed hitters at the top of their lineup in Shohei Ohtani and Freddie Freeman. We need a guy who can get Ohtani specifically out. And that was Tanner Scott. And they paid a hefty price to get him without ever knowing that they'd make the playoffs, that they'd be there for sure, that they'd face the Dodgers. But it was a possibility, and it certainly came to fruition last night when they needed to protect a one-run lead for 6+ innings to get that job done with one guy handing the ball to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next.
It's the super pen that you dreamed of. You saw it happen on more than one occasion this season, and they executed last night. And again, the strong moves. And, hey, I'll tell you this. I thought Dave Roberts managed a really good game, too. There was one chance last night where I went, oh, he's doing it. He did it. He's chasing it for Walker Buehler. He let Walker Buehler talk him into staying on the mound. Who the hell was up?
Banda.
No, who was up?
In the bullpen?
For the Padres.
Oh, who was up?
It was righty-lefty, I think. Was it
so,
a rise
no,
or something?
It was so Jackson Merrill was
they
up.
had Banda ready.
And Banda was ready to face Merrill.
And so I think he had a strike on him or 1-1 or something. He put him on. So they walked Merrill.
Yeah.
So now it's like, so you didn't bring in Banda to face Merrill.
They had a wild pitch that got Manny to second.
That's
Once
right.
the base was open at first, they just intentionally walked Merrill to bring up Bogarts.
And then left Buehler in to face the righty, and he got out of it. And I thought to myself, that's still the wrong decision. It just worked out in your favor. You still chased a moment there, in my opinion. But I think other than that, I thought he managed a really nice game, too. He's had guys banged up. And I'll tell you, when Miguel Rojas came out of the game and Tommy Edman went to short, I was like, oh, no. What I didn't understand, and hopefully Dave's not listening this morning, there's a guy on your bench that is pretty much the heart and soul of your team. Like he's your Jerkson Profar. Didn't play. Kike Hernandez. Didn't play. Kike Hernandez should be
had
out.
postseason success before with that team.
Like what? What are you doing? Kike can play center field. Andy Pajas against against a slew of righties makes no sense to me. But I'm glad. I looked at that. But other than that, I thought both skippers managed the game pretty well. I mean, it could have gotten out of hand for both teams, and it didn't. But what it boils down to is massively brilliant execution on Jason Adams' part, on Robert Suarez's part, on Tanner Scott's part, on Jeremiah Estrada's part. They were brilliant last night and deserve all the credit. All the credit.
Let's take our break. When we come back, we'll get into the 6-run inning, all the little moments that made that possible, and just how electric it was at Petco Park last night while this was all going on. So glad to see you all with us this morning. It's Ben and Woods and Paul on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So it's hard to surprise, at least me, when it comes to your surprise guest to throw out a first pitch. I mean, Tom DeLonge was not surprising in the first series. Tony Hawk, okay, but I totally that makes a lot of sense. That was cool. I truly was surprised yesterday when they brought out Jorge Alfaro.
You're gonna be mad at me
to throw out the first pitch.
You're going to be mad at me. I knew.
You knew,
yeah.
And you didn't reveal it. Well, you know what? You're right. You shouldn't have revealed it.
I had a
that was a surprise.
Go San Diego.
I had a tip.
I felt like the Padres were surprised too. Like players looked like they were also not in the know, and they saw him and go, "Oh wow, look who's here! Who's back?"
And we talked about it before the show this morning a little bit, and if you're a team, you can bring back legacy players. Dave Winfield is here, right? Padres Hall of, whatever.
The Dodgers brought out Eric Karros on Saturday, and they had Reggie Smith on Sunday. Like, totally expected.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's something that I love that this went against the grain a little bit. And then we all think back to how much we loved him, right? How much we loved covering him in spring training. Remember that year? When we were there, we sat up at we set up at 5:30. That dude walked in every day. Well, it was still dark outside every day. What's up, fellas? How you doing, man? Good to see you. He was the first dude that we loved him, and then he had these huge moments for them that season. Whatever happened, where he did not get an AB or get to play. Listen, there were a million rumors about it. He was obviously a fan favorite. He had some big hits for us. When I heard he was coming out, man, I was so excited to see him because I loved the other night. Maybe it was after the Braves. He tweeted LFGSD. Like, he was super stoked that his guys, beat the Braves and went. I don't know that he's still in baseball. I know he bounced around on a couple of teams. But when he came out last night, the smile on his face just warmed my heart. So I'm watching, and he walks out to the mound, and now Morahone's catching him. And so Morahone was giving him like all right, your turn. Hit the spot. Hit the spot. So he throws it, they hug. Manny, Crony, all these guys are walking. Manny looks at him and shakes his head and starts laughing and then pats his heart. And it was really sweet. And then Crony looks at him and just starts dying laughing, shaking his head. They were really happy to see him. It was a cool moment. And again, he doesn't have some big legacy with the San Diego Padres, but those moments he gave us, the LFGSD, all that.
But he represents good vibes.
Oh my God, he's the ultimate good vibe guy. So I just thought it was so cool to see. I love him. I always loved him. And I'm glad he was back. And I'm glad he's still rooting for the guys, man. It was really cool.
And then the game gets underway, and you have the ultimate deja vu moment when Mookie Betts is at the plate in the first inning. We've got all of this for you coming up. It's our Padres Wrap-Up right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Robert Half. Couple problems to mention here, guys. We still have this crash in the North County, southbound 15 for the 76. Car and motorcycle over the right shoulder. Now, not far from the Naval Base, we've got this accident, intersection of 32nd Street and Norman Scott. Looks like a motorcycle involved in that, so just watch out for a little activity there. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Our recruiting professionals utilize an award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
I love winning, man. I love winning. You hear what I'm saying? It's like better than losing.
Oh my God, I'm so stiff.
Miss any of the Padres win yesterday? Ben and Woods didn't.
What up, crew?
We've got you covered with all of the highlights.
I like it when the Padres win.
Yeah! Yeah! It's the Padres Wrap-Up, presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else.
Yeah! Give me a do damage.
Do damage.
3-2, hit in the air to deep left field. Profar going back, robbed one against him the other night. At the wall, leaps up, he can't get it. Nearly robbed another, but it is a home run for Betts. So Betts who got fooled one way by Profar the other day, gets fooled the other way by Profar here today. And with that little wall in left field, Jurickson almost made an identical catch against Betts, but this time a little bit out of his reach, and a home run, 1-0 Dodgers. 0-1. Bogarts, little tapper up the middle. Rojas charges it short, going to go to second on his own. Not in time. Throw to first. Not in time. And Machado scores. It's 1-1. And the Dodgers still don't have an out. 1-2 on the ground sharply. Fair up the first baseline. Going to roll to the right field corner. Merrill's on his way home. Bogarts is being waved. Peralta stops at second. No relay to the plate. A 2-run double and a 3-1 Padre lead as everybody in the building waves their golden towels. 3-1 Padres. Here's the pitch. Kyle swings, sends it in the air to center field and deep. Edman is going back. He's got room. He'll make the catch in front of the warning track. Plenty deep to get Peralta home from third base. Sac fly, Kyle Higashioka, and a 4-1 Padre lead. Here's the 0-2. And Tatis sends it in the air. Deep to left field. Hernandez is back. Looking up. Gonna go! 2-run homer, Fernando Tatis Jr. And it is a 6-run second inning. Here's the 1-2. And Hernandez swings, sends it in the air to deep center field. Merrill's going back, tracking it on the warning track. He is at the wall, leaps up, it's going to go. A grand slam for Teoscar Hernandez, who basically walked halfway up the first baseline, now into his trot, and we got ourselves a ball game here at Petco. Hernandez, first home run of the postseason, and a 1-run game here in the third. Ohtani, Betts, and Freeman here in the eighth. The 2-2 pitch, taken on the outside corner. Strike 3 called, and Tanner Scott strikes out Ohtani for the third consecutive game. Pitch on the way, Muncy swings and misses, strike 3. Chased 100-mile-an-hour heat up and out of the zone. One away here in the ninth. 3-2, Suarez delivers luck, swings and misses, strike 3. Suarez and the Padres have beat LA, and they take a 2-1 lead in the National League Division Series.
I really just appreciate this group, the way they compete, the way they carry themselves. Just love it was a good ball game. You know, they showed up, and it was just nice to actually, first pitch be thrown, and we're just playing baseball. So that was great, and great atmosphere in Petco tonight. Crowd was phenomenal. Clearly, I thought a difference maker and a part of what we were doing tonight, and we felt them, so that was great. But the guys came out and just played baseball and executed, and that was, always pleased to see that. Proud of this group, love them.
Oh, man, Skip got me ready to rip somebody's throat out today, man. He handled himself so brilliantly yesterday, with all the crap going on, all the narratives. And, we spent a good chunk of the morning yesterday talking about everything that had gone down. I did go to the team store after, got my Machado jersey, and wore it proudly last night. We spent, like I said, a good chunk talking about it yesterday. Then the game starts, and you're like, all right, we got to get back to baseball. And we all agreed there's not going to be any carryover tonight. It's over. Nobody's going to hit anybody. Nobody's going to dot anybody. Nobody's going to run mouth or anything like that. It was a very clean baseball game, a very good baseball game, a very nerve-wracking baseball game. And holy crap, man, to be able to come out with that win. I will say, though, once they got down 6-1, I'm so glad I didn't tweet, oh, my God, it worked. They're cooked. Like, they're absolutely cooked. You do have to tip your hat for the Dodgers, singling Michael King to death and then one big swing. And next thing you know, they're right back in it, man. Just like that. That's how good that team is. They have the potential to do that.
Well, of course, we talked yesterday about why the Dodgers and Dave Roberts did what they did. And we all agreed they needed to change the energy somehow. Change the focus, try to, distract the Padres, derail them somehow. And we wondered, well, is it going to work? For a team that needed a change in narrative, though, they got it in the first inning. I mean, that Mookie Betts, exact same fly ball to left field with Profar having a chance to make that catch, do something that probably could never be duplicated in the history of baseball, to rob the same guy in essentially the same spot in 2 consecutive playoff games.
In the billions.
And to have it come so close. It did touch his glove. He told teammates in the dugout, it touched my glove. And it was maybe an inch away from being one of the all-time great baseball playoff moments. But instead, it could have been a narrative.
You literally saw Mookie was running off the field.
Yeah, he thought he was cooked again. I mean, a lot of fans thought that Profar had it. You can never tell based on Profar's reaction. I mean, it's like complete surprise to everybody. But for a narrative changer, if I'm the Dodgers, isn't that a sign from the heavens? All right, this is our game now. Things are turning around. This went our way this time, and we're going to run with that. And for the Padres to then come out in that second inning against Walker Buehler, and not, it was such a typical Padres inning. Walker Buehler did not strike anybody out in that outing yesterday. Padres put the ball in play. Not always hard. Manny didn't rip that single to lead off the inning, but good at bat, gets on base. Then what happens? Jackson Merrill hits the ground ball that shows what an unbelievable heady player Manny Machado is. Probably the smartest baseball person maybe, the game has ever seen. Instinctually, just knowledge of the game. And he talked about what happened when he was running to second base, something that he said, yeah, we worked on that in spring training. Mike Schilt has us ready for that. It never comes up. I mean, never comes up. For it to finally come up, for the first time in my life, I had a situation where he knows where Freddie Freeman is playing.
Knows where he caught it.
He knows kind of in his mind, just because he knows baseball so well. Okay, Freddie has had to make a play, go down for it, so he's going to have to make this throw from just inside the bag. So where do I need to be? Without looking. He never turned around. It's just all in his mind. And you'll notice, as the ball is about to reach him, Manny cocks his head to the left, as though he can feel it somehow coming, and he just kind of has that turn as he's there, and it goes off of him and changes the course of that entire inning, the entire game, and perhaps the entire season for two teams. When that ball ticks off of his shoulder/helmet, exactly where it hit him, I wasn't quite sure. But that is Manny Machado's baseball instincts on display, his knowledge, his preparation. Again, it goes back to spring training, something they work on. You don't even think about that. That's a Mike Schilt thing as well. The tiny nuances of the game that he wants his team to be a master of, and that sets up, of course, everything that happens after that. The Dodgers made some mistakes as well. Rojas not getting any outs on the ground ball by Xander Bogaerts.
That's unbelievable, man. That was unbelievable. Rojas is he's a good defender, man, and that made no sense whatsoever. And yeah, man, I ran into Skip Schumacher right after that, and we chatted for a while. I go, well, how about that base running, man? And he goes, that's how you're taught to do it. He goes, just nobody does it anymore. No one does it anymore. And he said, that's exactly how you do it. That dude's IQ is off the charts. Baseball IQ is something I've asked the question before. How do you get it? How do you get it? And there's no answer for it. It's just something. It's repetition. It's focus. It's wanting to know, wanting to accept the baseball IQ that's out there, making sure that's a priority. I try to tell my 6-year-olds, be thinking 5 plays ahead. What happens if you go left, if you go right, if it's in front of you, if it's over your head? Those are the things that just come naturally to him. And it's such a heady play. And I think my favorite part, other than the win, was watching Dodger fans scream on Twitter that it was illegal somehow, that he did something illegal.
Dennis Lin wrote about that this morning. There's nothing illegal. The broadcast even said, hey, that could have been called interference. It could not.
No, it could not.
It could not. Now, you can't, if the thrower at second base is trying to complete a double play, you can't throw your arms in the air and knock the ball
Obviously,
down.
Yep.
But if you're running
if it's on a tag,
if you're running the other way, you don't have to run in a straight line.
Right.
They're not trying to tag you out. You're just trying to get to the base. In fact, if you're not running in a straight line, usually that's an advantage to the defensive team. It takes longer to get to the base.
Yes.
So there's no rule against it. Manny was simply playing heady instinctual baseball.
Brilliant.
There. Then you get David Peralta, who's been kind of the unsung, that backup platoon guy who has come through now 2 straight games with 2 enormous hits, driving in 4 runs here in the postseason to give the Padres the 3-1 lead. Great at-bat by Higgy, gets the sac fly deep enough to score. Not the fastest runner in Peralta, not just any fly ball does that. Gets it all the way out there. And then, of course, Fernando Tatis Jr. I mean, what else are you going to say? He has been so locked in. I mean, the ball must look gigantic as it's coming to the plate for Tatis right now. I'm surprised they got him out 3 times after that or whatever, 4 times after that. He did hit another rocket to the wall in center that they did catch later in the game. But that home run and that moment in the ballpark and the fans and how loud they were, it is something I will never forget the rest of my life.
Me neither. It was an incredible moment, and watching him stand there and look at the dugout. Again, tough day for Fernando Tatis Jr. yesterday. Caught in the crosshairs again. He's a grown man out there playing. The broadcast constantly bringing up everything he's done wrong in his life. He's having a monster postseason, and of course, then Ken Rosenthal's got to write an article calling him a dancing peacock, and he noticed. He put it on his Instagram story, a little peacock emoji after the game. And
Rosenthal actually just earlier in the hour wrote a new article about Fernando Tatis Jr., and I've been skimming through it here the last couple of minutes. It's titled, Padres Fernando Tatis Jr. meets the moment in spectacular October so far. No mention whatsoever, no retracting of his statement yesterday.
The peacock or anything like that.
Just solely focusing on how red hot Fernando is, and it's all factually correct and fair. But I was waiting. I was skimming through the article. I'm waiting for the yesterday. I wrote some words I regret or nothing.
Well, we'll talk about that too, because our friend Tommy put out a little side-by-side yesterday that I thought was pretty important to read. And again, I'm not casting aspersions at Ken Rosenthal at all. I don't even know if he realizes, the way that he comes off in some of these articles. And it was a brilliant comparison between Bryce Harper and Manny Machado. And I want you to listen to how it's framed. Two very similar players with two similar backgrounds, some checkered incidents. All, by the way, all on the field. Off the field, two brilliant, beautiful, kind citizens that have done great, great things. Never heard an issue about either player off the field. We're talking between the lines. Very similar trajectories. Very. One is painted with one brush. One is painted the other. I'm going to read it to you. And it really opened my eyes. And I went, Ken's got to be better. He's got to be better. We all do. Everyone's got to be better about the way you talk about players and people. And, there's these little words that you say that you go, that doesn't feel right. A smiling, dancing peacock is weird to say about a grown man that is out there playing the game with unbridled passion. Unbridled. Every kid sees him dance. Every lady in there sees him dance. Every man wants to be him, right?
Well, and I loved the other part of that paragraph from Rosenthal. Talked about Profar being the kid who pulls the fire alarm in school and then turns and goes, who, me? And then the Padres
saying, who, us?
Who, us? On their final score.
These are grown men out there. And Calcaterra, you read some of it yesterday, Ben. He wrote a really nice piece about it again, talking about sports writers need to evolve, and there needs to be an evolution.
There was a lot of speculation that the Padres banned Ken Rosenthal from their dugout. We do have an update for you on that story. We will bring it to you coming up next. Do not go away. More Ben and Woods after this quick timeout on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. To everybody's credit, once the game started, it did feel like some of the talk over the last couple of days did die down, as it should. Focus should be on the field. It was a playoff game. It was a classic. It will be remembered as such. But there were a lot of storylines that we can't done. You know, it's not like the last 48 hours didn't happen, Woods. They did. And there really are some things that, Mike Schilt went and did his news conference yesterday and went to bat for Manny Machado.
This was brilliant.
As I fully expected him to do.
Sure.
But was pretty strong in his comments and all throughout it. While he never really singled anyone out specifically by name. I mean, he even avoided, I don't think he ever said the name Dave Roberts, did not specifically mention anyone on the Dodgers other than saying how much they respected the Dodgers. But clearly there was intent. As Dave liked to say in his news conference, I think there was intent from Mike Schilt when he responded to the accusations of Dave Roberts about Manny Machado potentially throwing a ball at him. We saw more angles of that really do make it look like an invisible sandwich, because I know you don't like it when I call something a nothing burger.
Right,
so there you
fine.
go. But here was Mike Schilt yesterday on Manny Machado and the ball gate controversy.
Come from maybe a just different philosophy of dealing with this. I couldn't help but have people share them with me, so I'm aware of them. Listen, I got into this game to help players get the most out of their God-given ability and to compete on the field and respect the opponent. I'm not, nor will I disparage another player on another team, especially anybody I've managed in the past.
Whoa.
Nor will I do it to a collective team. So just not how I want to operate. I got a lot of respect for their club, the players on their club. As far as Manny goes, it's unfortunate that people can't, move on from things from the past. I thought Manny's exhibition of professionalism and leadership were on display the other night in a very tough environment. He nor I or anyone will profess to be perfect, but Manny has made some strides that are very impressive both on and off the field. It's been a privilege to witness that. It's representative of him being our rightful Roberto Clemente nominee award winner, and I expect him to win it. I get the privilege of seeing him along with our players behind the scenes do some really special things for young people, our community, but people have their right clearly to share what they want and how they want to share it. As far as the comments about the team, again, privilege keeps coming up in my head. It's beyond a privilege. I've been doing this for 30 plus years. We all have our transgressions that we have. None of us are perfect, but I can speak to the heart of caring about people and players. And
I love this.
Been with teams for a long time that represent themselves with class and dignity, and I don't have to defend this team. This team does not need my defense, nor do our players need to defend themselves.
Love that.
Brilliant, man.
Loved that.
And again, it's exacerbated by a hit piece dropped on the day of a playoff game. It's inexcusable on Ken Rosenthal's part. It was inexcusable on Dave Roberts' part.
And that was the subtle shot. Did you catch it from Mike Schilt when he said, "I would never disparage a player on another team, especially someone I had managed before." Yeah. Dave managed Manny at the end of that 2018 season when he was traded to the Dodgers. Dave was his manager. That was a dig right there going, I would never do that. But that's what Dave Roberts did, and that's why he said that. It also brings up, again, the context of Ken Rosenthal's piece about Manny Machado. And Ken Rosenthal, I want to be clear. Again, I don't know him. And as a journalist, he did not do anything unethical or unprofessional.
Really? You don't think it was unprofessional?
No. He's allowed to have his opinions. He's
Sure.
allowed to hate Manny Machado and love Bryce Harper and write whatever he wants. That's part of his job. However, it certainly shows a lack of thoroughness when you don't take into consideration all the things that Manny was rightfully hailed for by Manny Machado. Now, you can write a one-sided piece. There's nothing criminal about that. You can do that as an opinionated sports broadcaster, sports columnist, insider. You are allowed to do that, and it's the court of public opinion that now can cast its judgment upon Ken Rosenthal and decide, do we really want to give what this guy says as much influence and credence going forward when you're going to point it out here exactly what biases may be inherent in Ken's opinions and writing.
So here is one, a piece he wrote about Bryce Harper. It says, he is 30 now, quite removed from his younger self, an occasionally hot-tempered player who exasperated some fans with flashes of cockiness and immaturity. Back then, Ron, Bryce's dad, would tell reporters Bryce was misunderstood, a good kid who stood for the right things. Bryce was young, only 19, when he made his major league debut, 22 when he won his first of 2 MVP awards. His offenses, all things considered, were relatively minor. He never got into serious trouble. Today, Harper is married and a father of 2. He's treating his postseason almost as a second coming-out party. Phillies manager Rob Thompson's pointed out that Harper and his teammates began playing more freely after they finally ended the franchise's 11-year playoff drought, escaping the burden of that pressure. Ron Harper and his wife, Sherry, notice it too. Their son is buoyant, bursting with energy and emotion. Here's Manny's piece. This is a player who in 2014 triggered a benches clearing incident when he objected to a hard tag by Josh Donaldson. This is a player who in 2016 charged the mound and threw punches at Royals' Yordano Ventura. This is a player who in 2017 caused the injury that brought on the end of Dustin Pedroia's career with a hard slide that some perceived as dirty. Let's not forget Machado's heel turn with the Dodgers in the 2018 National League Championship Series, where he twice slid questionably into Brewers shortstop Orlando Arcia in Game 3 and clipped first baseman Jesus Aguilar running out a grounder in Game 4. He also generated controversy during that series for explaining his failure to run out a grounder by telling me in an interview, obviously I'm not going to change. I'm not the type of player that's going to be Johnny Hustle and run down the line, slide into first base. That's not my personality. That's not my cup of tea. That's not who I am. There is a stark difference in the reporting. It's stark. Bryce Harper, I love. And that's the thing is, like, I don't want this to pit me or anybody against Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper hasn't done anything wrong. Between the lines, he is a fierce competitor that plays hard, that has had questionable plays as well, that loafs down the line. I've seen it. I've seen it with my own eyes. Not nary a word about it. So again, it's the way that you paint the picture, Ken. That's all I'm calling into question here. The way you paint the picture. And again, you couldn't have asked for a better representation from your manager. If my manager ever spoke that way about me, I would be ready to light somebody on fire for him. You know what I mean? Or light myself on fire for him and run through a wall. Mike Schilt handled that yesterday. A+++. Manny Machado handled that yesterday. A+++. Yeah, I thought it was, and when you pointed out, there was another tweet that he had sent years ago. We all remember Chase Utley's slide into Tejada at second base that broke his leg. We all remember it. We all saw it. We all knew it was dirty. Chase Utley was a Dodger at the time, and he tweeted at the time, Dodgers Utley sent an apology to Tejada last night through a player on the Mets that he knows well. Intent was not to injure. Intent or not, it was still a dirty slide. Kenny going out there and defending, really dirty-ass plays, it's weird. It's weird when you're talking about some relatively minor things. Bryce Harper's charged the mound. He threw a helmet at Hunter Strickland. Why? Because he got dotted. Why did Manny Machado go out against the Royals guy? Because he got dotted with a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. This is not new in the game of baseball. How many times have guys charged the mound after getting drilled by a pitch? And talking about Profar as an irritant and pulling a fire alarm and calling Tatis Jr. just randomly a dancing peacock, there's no place for it. There's no place for it anymore.
Again,
be better.
Ken Rosenthal can write what he wants. I would hope that if he saw that side by side, that he would do some self-reflection, though, and maybe reevaluate perhaps his internal, maybe even subconscious biases that he has against Manny Machado. So it was quite noticeable, if you were watching the broadcast last night, that Ken Rosenthal, who usually handles all dugout interviews during the game for both teams and post-game interviews for the winning star player, did not talk to any Padres players during the game. He was stationed over in the Dodgers dugout, and then when the Padres won the game, instead of him conducting that first post-game interview, they put headsets on Fernando Tatis Jr.
Tatis, yeah.
and had John Smoltz and Joe Davis conduct the interview from up in the booth. That is not typical Fox procedure. So clearly something was up. Now, we've been told and we've heard there was no ban instituted against Ken Rosenthal by the Padres front office or organization. They did not say you are not allowed to do your job. And quite frankly, that's the correct attitude by the Padres. You can't just ban a media member you don't like because you disagreed with what they wrote. That is not your job as an organization. However, Kevin Acee did write this morning that there was a player boycott of Ken Rosenthal, and that for one game, the players agreed we will not be talking to him. Now, he was in the clubhouse after the game, doing his work. It was not prevented from doing his job, but the players made it clear, I guess, at some point, don't come asking us for an interview. We're all going to say no, and that's also the players' right. The league can, they can institute some discipline if you refuse to do the obligated interviews, and I don't know that they will in this case. It would be pretty, I think, tone deaf of Major League Baseball to fine Padres players for refusing to do their in-dugout interviews with Ken Rosenthal in this game. Technically, I think they probably could, but that's basically the update that we got. There was no ban on Ken Rosenthal by the Padres, but players kind of agreed on a boycott and said, we are not for one game. We're just not going to be talking to Ken.
AC doesn't say in his newsletter today if he talked to any players specifically about it or not, so it might just be his own speculation. But he did say the Padres, suffice to say, were not pleased with Rosenthal's brand of journalism. The team did not conduct the usual in-game interviews with him on Fox last night. It was a one-game boycott, and those interviews are expected to resume tonight.
Yeah, and again, we talked about this yesterday a ton. Dave Roberts did this. Make no mistake. Okay? Don't get it twisted. National media, whatever. None of this happens. That piece isn't written. It feels like it was such an orchestrated thing. That question that was toward the end of the press conference, 1,000% fed to Dave Roberts. 1,000%. Then they send off the video, knowing damn well nothing's going to happen. Manny didn't hit anybody with a ball. Didn't even really come close to hitting anybody. Didn't put anybody in danger whatsoever. It was completely orchestrated. Then Ken has his piece ready to go, turns it around, a gnarly hit piece the next day about this the night before a playoff game. Bro, you look at this and go, come on. Like, are you guys in cahoots? What are we doing here? And I thought the players had every right to say, no, pass. Absolutely not. Absolutely not talking to this guy today.
John Boy did an extensive breakdown of everything that happened in Game 2, including pointing out something that I kind of missed. But on that throw by Manny Machado toward the dugout, which was, like a 5-hopper that was rolling toward the fencing, if it hadn't hit that concrete barrier, that's what kind of launched it back into the air and made it kind of look like it was bouncing up toward Dave Roberts. I doubt anyone would have noticed it at all if it hadn't hit a concrete barrier and bounced up, because otherwise it was a sidearm flick that was, multiple bounces rolling toward a dugout. Was there a little more steam on it than maybe a tiny, toss? Yeah. Was Manny and all the rest of the players out there hot in that game with everything that was going on and amped up? Sure.
Please remember again, Manny walking to the dugout, Jack Flaherty screaming at him from the mound, sit down, mother effer. Who is amping up this whole thing? It's Jack Flaherty, fired up, got no problem with it. None. Shohei Ohtani hitting the home run, slinging his bat, no problem with it. Zero. Not even a little. Okay? Manny walking back to the dugout, getting screamed at. Profar jumping up and down. Like, Dave Roberts then going to the media and sending a video to Major League Baseball. Dave is the one responsible for this. It starts at the top. It always has in that organization. He's been like this since he's been there. The world is not going to lay down and die for you because you're the LA Dodgers. Teams aren't going to roll over for you guys just because you have a big payroll and you're superstar laden. It's not going to happen. As much as you want it to, it's not going to. Okay? So That pissed me off. And he did this. He and he alone did this. And if he doesn't say anything, if he says, guys, I didn't see it, I don't give a rat's ass. We're trying to figure out how we're going to beat Michael King tomorrow. I got to get my guys ready to play. That's it. None of this happens. None of it. You kick the hornet's nest, and then you cry that you got stung. It doesn't make any sense.
And by the way, maybe the loudest boos in Petco Park
Ever.
history when Dave Roberts was introduced in the early pregame managerial introduction. I mean, that place, I was in the roof of the Marriott, and I looked over and go, oh, they just introduced Dave Roberts. You could hear it through downtown, the boos for Dave Roberts in that situation when they were lined up. Player I think I've ever heard. That was not like right before first pitch. That was like 20, 30 minutes before first pitch.
Yeah.
You guys were loud. And I think when we come back, I want to change things to a little do this, because I thought one of the stars of the show last night and one of the reasons the Padres won the game was you.
Me?
No.
Oh.
You Padres fans who completely
I'm one of
you
them.
were
I
one
was
of them.
there.
Yeah, you were there. And you just completely flipping the script from Game 2 in Dodger Stadium with class, with energy, and with a night I think most people who were there will never, ever forget. We got a couple moments to share with you. We'll get to that in our Do This segment when we come back with Ben and Woods after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
That is my number.
All right, hit me. Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
All right, here we go.
Black 17 on.
That is my number.
All right, hit me.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
To be honest, we handled plenty of "Don't Do This" on Ken Rosenthal and Dave Roberts in that story, so I want to focus on the positive. Give me a "Do This," Paulie, right at the beginning.
Mega doo-doo.
I once again want to reiterate how special last night was with the fans. Another record crowd at Petco Park, 47,744. They are really pushing the limits to see how many people they can get in there. But I thought
Let's make it 50.
I thought the behavior with even that many people in there was absolutely top tier, very classy. Everybody in the stadium seemed to be enthusiastic, but I did not see incidents. I don't know if you saw anything sitting in the stands, but I did not see anything that caused me really any consternation. That the Padres fans were great, the Dodgers fans who were there, and just based on my personal observations, I thought there were more Padres fans at Dodger Stadium than there were Dodgers fans. There were Dodgers fans there, but I thought there was a few more Padres fans in L.A. than there were Dodgers fans in San Diego, but didn't see anyone not behaving themselves during the game.
No, it was very, the game ground to a halt there for a few innings. I mean, obviously it was really exciting early, and then the energy, you get nervous, man, when you're winning by one run, you're up against that offense, right? So you kept looking for any spark to get the crowd back into it. It never really happened until, some big strikeouts from the Padres bullpen. But I will say, man, the groups of Dodger fans I didn't see them getting booed or anything like that. Nobody was ranking them out as they were walking through the concourse. Everybody was pretty chill. Padre fans were really good and loud and boisterous and waving the towels. I must have almost lost my eye like 14 times because if you're standing next to somebody waving a rally towel, my wife kept whipping me in the face. The lady behind me kept whipping me in the back of the head. The guy to my right was whipping me in the other side. And then the lady in front of me was whipping it over her head. I was surrounded by rally towels whipping me in the face. Of course, I used it like Dominic did in the chat as the Jerry Tarkanian towel.
Oh, the chew towel.
I ate the thing last. I just I have my oral fixation anyway. Next time I need to bring a pacifier. If I go to another game like that, I need to bring a pacifier. It was excruciatingly nuts, but I loved this story. It came out in the UT this morning. And last night, Mookie Betts' home run in the first inning. What a moment. You thought Profar had it. So Mookie Betts hits it over the left field wall. It lands in San Diego's Dan Vincent's lap. And he's like, oh, no, I don't want this ball. This is the last thing I want. He said, it didn't really occur to me to throw it back. He said, I
hope it occurred to him not to throw it back.
It did.
Actually,
in that
situation.
He said, I know that's not the right move. He said, I'd rather give it to a Dodger fan versus throwing it back. So he goes and finds an usher. He said, sir, could you help me find a Mookie Betts fan, a kid wearing a jersey or something? Let's track somebody down who'd love to have this Mookie Betts home run ball. So they found 11-year-old Freddie Wright of Palm Springs. And they brought him over, and the kid said, I'm a big Dodger fan. And the guy's, no problem, man, gives him the ball. Very, very cool move. And they got a sweet picture of the Padres fan giving it to this little 11-year-old Mookie Betts fan. It was a really nice moment.
It reminds me, so we had a story last night on Channel 10. It was from our colleagues up at KABC in Los Angeles. They tracked down the guy who Jurickson stole the ball away from and then came and brought the ball back. And he playfully threw it back onto the field. And he seemed actually like a pretty decent guy when he was talking. He said, I was not intending to start something and get other people throwing. I truly was trying to be in Jurickson's, the spirit of playfulness. Jurickson's playing with us. I smiled at him. He came, brought me the ball. He goes, I don't want this. And, I'm gonna chuck it. And he was really just trying to be playful. And I felt that. He felt truly bad that then other people saw that and started throwing things.
When I was watching the John Boy breakdown, I mean, they were zoomed in on that catch on Sunday night. And the fan is laughing.
He's great.
He's smiling.
He was great. We said it.
When Profar's bouncing up and down, he's not pissing off the crowd. It was a moment between him and that fan.
Yes, it was
and they
rad.
were both into it. And I think that just got completely glossed over with everything over the last 48 hours.
He was not pulling the fire alarm and saying, who me?
No,
he was not.
What's so sad is that it really could have been the best of baseball there.
No question.
On a small scale, it was. Jurickson is, in many ways, the best of baseball.
Dude,
and that
100%.
fan, as much as you don't like Dodgers fans, that fan's a good
fan.
Dodger fan and a good fan.
He's a good sport about it.
The kind that they need more of. And it's so sad that that's the incident that then sparked what turned into such ugliness and such this entire narrative for this series about, bad behavior.
And
it was not
villains and heroes.
It wasn't sparked by bad behavior at all.
No.
It was sparked by great sportsmanship, great fun and enthusiasm, and some of the best parts of the game. And that truly is what was sad about that.
So I think it's always the right move, whether it's the home team or the away team, to give the ball to the kid.
Yeah, always give it to the kid.
Always the right move. It's always the wrong move to throw something, including baseballs, onto the field aimed at players.
Right.
But are we as a society like moving on from throwing opposing home runs onto the field again? Because my whole life, that was the rule.
Throw it back.
The other team
throws
hits a home run. If you catch it, you throw it back.
Wrigley Field tradition,
Which
obviously.
is, hey, listen,
Yeah.
if you want to do that, fine. Obviously, try not to hit a player. But then, you can't do the monkey see, monkey do. Like, oh, we're throwing stuff at guys.
Right.
Let me launch my Modelo at somebody. That can't happen. Like that's where it crosses the line. Even the throwing the home run ball back is not crossing the line.
I loved that bit.
I did too.
Forever.
But yeah, it's pretty cool to give a kid a ball.
You have to.
Always.
That's always the first.
If you don't want it, like Crony threw me a ball in San Francisco. I did not give it to a kid. I gave it to my wife and my kids. And I said, I guess I did give it to a kid. I gave it to my kid. But I wasn't about to be like, let me find a little Giants fan to give it to. No, I was stoked to get it, right? I gave it to Bo and he loved it. But yeah, it was really obviously a great game, but the vibe was stupid good. Stupid good. After the game, walking through the concourse, randos, just high fives everywhere. Just everyone was feeling it last night. It was really, really cool.
And that was just to do this for a Wednesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, I'm curious. Adam Jones is going to join us when we come back. The 5-time All-Star, watching this series very closely. He'll have thoughts, I'm sure, on everything. Close with Manny. His opinions on how this has all played out the last couple of days. That is coming
Slide Gate.
next.
Yeah, Slide Gate now.
On San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. ex-ball players tweeting like during, or current ball players tweeting during the game. Brent Rooker about how crazy the playoffs were. Even former Padre Matt Carpenter tweeted, this Dodgers-Padres series is like a UFC title bout pay-per-view. Two teams that don't like each other exchanging blow after blow. It's been a very compelling postseason so far.
It really has, man.
And we're not even to the championship series yet. We're still in the divisional round of the playoffs. I know Adam Jones has been paying close attention. He's close with Manny Machado, who's been at the center of all of this. He is standing by. We will talk to AJ on a Big League Wednesday right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by SDG&E. Well, guys, would you believe yet another accident involving a motorcycle? Westbound 78 B4 Emerald. This one's in the center divide. Up ahead, you've still got a crash involving a motorcycle blocking lanes before El Camino Real. Now, traveling on northbound 15 past Friars Road, accident involving a motorcycle. It's in the center divide. Up ahead before Claremont Mesa Boulevard. Collision involving several vehicles. Appears to be blocking the fast lane. Now we're getting reports of a hit-and-run crash on westbound King Freeway before Euclid. That's over to the right shoulder. In peak wildfire season, as a last resort, SDG&E may need to shut off power in specific areas for public safety. Learn more about public safety power shutoffs at sdge.com/PSPS. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
I like the California seems to be the center of the baseball universe right now. That's hard to do when both New York teams are still alive.
Dude, nobody's talking about them at
Yet
all. It's
everyone
crazy.
seems to be talking about Padres Dodgers, and joining us right now to talk about it as well is the five-time All-Star Adam Jones. I mean, what a postseason, what a series it has been so far, AJ, and we're not done yet. Good morning to you.
I think all the fans love what's going on right now. I mean, you got the East going against each other. You have the West going against each other in the National League. I mean, I think the only people that aren't really getting much attention is the American League with the two series going on there. But the main focus has been on the National League series for justifiable reasons.
It's been insane, and I've loved watching the Tigers play, and not a team you get to watch a lot of, and not full of superstars. I've loved watching the Guardians play as well. There's been some great games. It's the Major League Baseball playoffs. There's nothing that really comes close to it. AJ, I wanted to ask you this, man. In all your years of playing ball, did anyone ever write a hit piece on Adam Jones?
Like a hit piece to harm me?
Yeah, like a hit piece, like that Ken Rosenthal wrote about Manny yesterday on the morning of a playoff game, just kind of bringing up everything you've ever done wrong, things like that. Did the Baltimore papers or the Arizona
Things from
papers?
10 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, and then in high school, Adam Jones did this or that. Did you ever have one of those?
Ken is sounding like that old disgruntled girlfriend right about now.
Big time.
With all that Manny Machado stuff.
Big time.
Big time. And, hey, look, do we all have faults? Do we all have mistakes? Yeah, if you bring up every single thing we've all done as a human being, then, hell, we're all terrible human beings if you want to focus on that. Hey, everybody has mistakes. What Manny's doing right now, I think, should be talked about in a different light. He was younger, cool, but the leadership skills that he's shown, especially over the last 2 or 3 years, that needs to be talked about more also. This is his franchise. You got other guys on big deals. This is Manny Machado's team. And, it's popular, again, it's popular to write about the guy because most people want to hear the negative about him. People don't, if it's something positive about Manny, Manny's doing the team leader, he's being this. People don't want to hear that. People want to hear the bad boy. People want to hear all negative when it comes to Machado. And to be honest, I think that it came a point to where he just really doesn't care anymore.
Yeah.
To where, cool, you write whatever you want. It's not going to stop you. I'm here to play baseball. I got 9 more years on my deal. Suck it and wear it. And that's where he's at right now. And it's lovely to see. I think he's reached that point to where he really doesn't care what you think anymore. Like, he really, really doesn't care. And he's there to play baseball. And, that's the maturation process. And becoming an adult and more of an adult. He's a father now. Like, there's a lot different more things on his mind than all the time reading about what's written about him. The dude's awesome. His family's awesome. He plays the game the right way. He's one of the best third basemen ever, and we're getting to watch something special. So I don't want to harp on the bad stuff with him. I'm just appreciating the talent that we're getting to see.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I mean, a perfect example was that base running play last night. I know you were watching that game. I know you appreciated the hell out of that.
Mm-hmm.
The art that goes into that, the ability to think at a split second. I got to read where that ball was caught. I got to read where Rojas's glove is. I got to read all that. I got to make a decision, a completely legal and brilliant decision to wear this one and keep this inning alive. And I know you appreciated that.
I mean, playoff baseball it's all about 90 feet. Just like Freddie Freeman said in Game 1. He got a bad ankle, but he stole a base.
Yeah.
Hey, 90 feet in the playoffs is huge.
Massive.
And that's coming from a franchisable player himself where he don't have to do that, but he's there to win the game. And Manny's there to win. You see those kind of things. Again, you're taught that. Ball, get behind you to the first baseman on the ground. You know, get yourself into that grass. Get yourself into that
lane.
That line of vision for him. And it was a great throw by Freddie, but it was a great decision by Machado to get into the baseline. And then just nicked off the helmet and went into the outfield, allowing runners to advance. And that's winning baseball. Look, it doesn't have to look pretty at this point in the year. Jeter said it on the Fox broadcast. People like Mookie is going back to trying to do his mechanics and stuff like that. And Cronenworth is doing the same thing. At 200 games played at this point in time, that stuff it ain't going to work. Yeah, you're trying to find your mechanics, that ain't going to work. You're going to have to just boil down, figure it out. And, like you see, Mookie, the talent is always going to show itself. So sometimes you just got to take a step back and let it come to you. Cronenworth's had some really good at-bats last night. You get him going, he's hitting 6-7 right now. And you're talking about a lineup that is damn near unstoppable, especially with the athleticism they have. So it's just fun to watch these guys continuously grow and continuously make adjustments that most people only fathom about.
Talking to Adam Jones here on a Big League Wednesday, and I want to get your players' perspective. The Padres have made the conscious decision. They've been attacking Shohei Ohtani and trying to get him out. And some fans are going, why would you pitch to that guy? It burned him in the first game. They got him. They contained him the last two games. The Dodgers have mostly pitched to Fernando Tatis Jr. as not maybe with as successful as results, but they continue to go after him. As a player, do you ever not want to see, intentional walks on guys who are hot? Would you rather have your team pitch to a guy even though he's insanely hot? Does that matter to you?
I mean, situation calls for situations. I mean, nobody on, nobody out. I mean, pitch to the man. Like, what are you doing? Compete. Like, you can get him out. He didn't hit 1,000 this year. He hit 310, didn't hit 1,000, didn't hit 500. Chances are he probably might jump you, hit something hard. But if you walk him, that is proven to be a double, maybe a triple. He's one of the best base runners in all of baseball.
Yep.
Don't give him a free 90 feet if you can. If Mookie is struggling, try and face him while he's struggling. You don't want him to get hot. He's one of the best players too. But it's playoff baseball. The guy's on base. I mean, the guy's hitting and hits a 3-run home run. You're talking about a difference maker. Is Mookie a difference maker? Of course he is, an MVP. But when Ohtani is going hot, I mean, there's very, very few people that are like him. And the fact that he is arguably the fastest guy in the game when he gets on base. So it's a double-edged sword when it comes to Ohtani, but I like what they're doing, going after him. What else are you going to do? I mean, you nitpick around him, he will steal second and steal third. You put people on base for Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith, Teoscar Hernandez. That's a recipe for losing. Go after the man. I mean, at the end of the day, he's a tough out, yes, but you can get him out. And you see last night, King was going after him the second time around. They got him a little bit, but he settled down. And it's a tough, again, as I always say, it's a tough game. Make those dudes hit. Don't give him a free 90 feet in the playoffs where he can just turn that into an easy run.
Yeah, man, and after you talking to Adam Jones here on Ben and Woods this morning, after watching Michael King carve up the Braves, I mean, he barely broke a sweat. Everything was moving. Obviously, the Dodgers are going to be able to grind out ABs, broken bat singles. They singled him to death. One big swing, they're right back in it, man. I was at Petco last night, AJ, and it sucked the life out. You're just waiting for the other shoe to drop, and every time they come up, like Ben said earlier, every time they come up, that's the tying run. And to be able to hold those guys, I think, to one hit after that was staggering work by the bullpen. Both bullpens. I mean, both bullpens were brilliant last night. I'm going to tell you, being in the house watching a game like that, I'd rather see a 19-17 slugfest. I was sick to my stomach. I couldn't even watch when the Padres were pitching.
I mean, it's tough. It's tough. When you mow down a guy and mow down a team one time through the lineup, and then the next time they get you. I mean, he looked Cy Young worthy against the Braves.
Yeah.
And then obviously you're talking about the Dodgers. Somebody who's also seen him 4 times this year. Guys who've had individual success off of him. So it's somebody that they know. And the same thing with Walker Buehler. Over the years, Walker has owned the Padres. He's owned everybody. He's had a great career. The last 2 years he's been dealing with injuries, so he's not been as good. But you take advantage of it. And when you know each other, that's why the Padres got on Walker so early, because they know him. They know everything he got, everything he's going to present, and they torched him.
So what does Adam Jones think about Mike Shilt's decision to go with Dylan Cease tonight in Game 4 on 3 days rest? He's never done it in his career before. Went 3 1/3 in Game 1 on Saturday through, I think, 82 pitches. But instead of Martin Perez, rested, but your number 4 guy, you're going with your ace. He didn't exactly light it up in that first game, but they think that's their best chance. What's your thought on that choice by Mike Schilt?
Well, first off, I love the decision. He threw 82 pitches. He should be right. He should be fine. But I don't know if this is the first time he's ever thrown a home game in his playoff career. I think so. Or Matt, I think in the COVID year, I think the White Sox made the playoffs. I'm not sure exactly. But this is arguably the biggest game in Dylan Cease's professional career.
Oh, yeah. And
he gets a pitch in a clinching game at home with the Padres faithful going insane. The adrenaline will have him throwing 98, 99, and I think it's a perfect call. You can run Darvish out there for Game 5. These are veteran guys who've been there. Martin Perez can be on backup duty. But I think right now, with the series in your grasp, go get it. Don't play around with it. Go get it. And by them moving him up a day, which again he went 3 1/3. He didn't go 8. So I think he's well rested, and I think he wants the ball, and I think his adrenaline's to be flowing. Hopefully, he goes out there, attacks that strike zone, and gives us a great effort.
Last thing for me, and I don't know if you ever had a chance to meet him. I didn't know that much about him, but Louis Tiant passed away yesterday at the age of 83. And I don't know if you knew anyone or had ever had a chance to meet him, but just thoughts on a Red Sox and a playoff legend, a guy who got to start 3 games of a World Series winning team once.
And flair, swag back in the day where swag was probably looked down upon, as much as it is even these days. Back then, holy smokes, man, the guy did it his way.
I mean, I think he was one of the first Latin guys to really do it his way. They didn't compromise himself to, fit in. And I've gotten to know Louis over the last 10 years. He does a lot of work with David Ortiz and his foundations. And I've got to spend a lot of time with him down in Dominican Republic, drinking a lot of Presidentes and having those great cigars, talking about baseball. Oh, yeah. It goes there.
AJ, we'll let you go. Awesome stuff. Hopefully next week we are smack dab in the middle of a National League Championship Series, and we will talk to you again then. Now, Adam Jones, our 5-time All-Star on our Big League Wednesday, always joining us. I think it was Eduardo Perez was telling stories about Louis Tiant. And he said, Louis Tiant, didn't matter. If he came over to your house, he was lighting up a cigar in your house. It's like there was no getting around it. It's just he just was going to do it, and you're just going to wear it.
You wear it.
Your house is going to smell like cigar smoke for the next week if Louis Tiant came over to visit, because the guy was not going to be. You can't ask him, hey, can you go do that in the backyard? Or we'll just, hey, I got a nice patio. We can go and enjoy a cigar. He's going to sit in your living room couch, and he is going to smoke his cigar while he's sitting there in your home.
Just imagine, you invite me over, and I walk in, I sit down on your couch, I pull out a pack of Marlboros. I'm like, anyway, so what do you want to do tomorrow on the show? You're like, bro, we don't smoke in here. You're like, no, I mean, I do.
This is the year 2024.
Just uncompromisingly yourself is so good. What a great story. Yeah, didn't matter. You don't smoke in here. I do. I'm going to.
He was going, Louis Tiant was such a breath of fresh air. Well, maybe that's the wrong choice of words because it was a constant cloud of cigar smoke.
I mean, obviously, before our time, but seeing video of him doing all of his little histrionics on the mound, and you're like, and he threw gas. I mean, gas back then. I've seen plenty of highlight reels of Louis Tiant, man. What a loss. And we should do it like we do it on the Ben and Woods program.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Give him a little shout out to his family.
And I really hope we can see more unity and more peace when already things are so difficult.
That's right.
So, shout out to his family.
Sure, 1960s Ken Rosenthal with a little press thing in his hat called him a preening peacock on the mound.
Yes,
probably.
I'm sure.
Back in the day. But, Louis Tiant, one of a kind, passed away yesterday at the age of 83. And I just had a feeling that he had crossed paths with Adam Jones at some point. AJ does. He
makes the scene.
He really appreciates. One of the things I love about AJ is that he appreciates the history of the game, and he takes advantage of all of his opportunities to interact with the legends, and he's gotten many of those chances to do so. And then he shares it all with our audience, which is so great and so much fun. All right, we are 2 hours in, still have 2 hours to go today, and we will actually have 5 hours tomorrow because the Padres won, which means, Woods, we got another roundtable tomorrow at 10 o'clock as well. Adam was so quick on that email yesterday. Padres won. That means we are definitely having a roundtable on Thursday. It'll either be could be the off day between games 4 and 5, or it could be a wrapping up of the division series and looking ahead to the NLCS. But one way or another, we're on tomorrow for the extra hour. Look at that. He's so excited, he's speechless, folks.
So burned out.
We
just got going.
October is going to kill us.
It really will.
I was at the end of the night last night. I was walking out of the building and get your 2 hours of sleep and come on back and let's do it again tomorrow.
Do it all over again.
Yep, we're going to do it again today. I can't believe there's another game today.
It's hard to believe. I cannot even wrap my head around it just yet.
We will come back. Haven't talked about some of the other games as well. All next on 97.3 The Fan.
Oh, yeah, we are halfway home on what day is it? Wednesday. Good Lord. Holy cow. Ben and Woods, 97.3, The Fan. Having a blast watching this team. Being with our people out at Petco Park, out at Baja Rick's yesterday. That was a great, great show. Again, thanks to Dave Roberts for the content, because we had nothing, literally nothing, until that came down yesterday. So always good for a soundbite or two is Dave, and it was fantastic, and we desperately needed it. So
in my mind, for the month of October, there are no weekdays, there are no weekends.
No.
There are simply game days. And off days.
Yeah, that's exactly
and
right.
That's how everything is now categorized until the baseball playoffs are over.
Yeah, no question. Got a message in the chat from Michael Kant, K-A-N-T, who I assume is Adam Klug's burner. It says, I hope the roundtable continues after the season is over. Even if it's once a month, it's the best segment on the station.
I hear that from a lot of people.
I do
Woods.
too. I do have fun doing the roundtable.
It is the thing. Yeah, I always enjoy the roundtable.
Always. I always have a fun time.
Maybe if it just wasn't right after our 4-hour show every Thursday.
I don't get, being in the morning chair, you don't get to see a lot of the other people on the station. It's always great when Tony Gwynn Jr. joins us. It's great, always great to see Annie and Craig and L.O. as well. So Adam says no roundtable during the off season. Oh, okay. Well, I would have done it, just so you know.
By the way, thanks to everybody who showed up at Baja Rick's yesterday for all of our live broadcasts. We had a ton of people in the morning. It sounded completely off the hook as they got closer to game time yesterday through Annie and Elston's show, and then the Gwynn and Chris program in the afternoon. And again, thanks to Baja Rick for being such a great host for us each of the last 2 Tuesdays. Hopefully we'll have a chance to do it again at some point before the postseason is over.
Do you realize that I think, Paulie, have you noticed this for a week straight? In every show, he has said the phrase, off the hook. Have you noticed that? It's the new it's a new old Ben Higgins catchphrase.
Hey, cool kids, how you doing?
Everything's off the hook.
I'm a hep cat.
You are a hep cat.
Petco Park, off the hook.
Petco Park was off the hook.
Padres are playing.
Would you rather follow the chain? Would that be better? What's more modern lingo at this point?
My son, who's 6, has started saying a few things around the house that he's obviously picked up from school. I don't know what they mean. Skibidy.
Skibidy.
He says it all the time.
Sounds good.
He also says Sigma, which sounds like Ligma, which it's code for something, but I don't know what any
Sigma
of this...
is a Greek letter.
It is.
Yeah.
But he's been saying this stuff all the time. He also said, you're sus. He's 6.
I learned sus recently.
So I don't know what any of it means already at 6 years old. And I'm like, I'm getting old, but what does this stuff mean? If anyone knows, please let me
Remember
know.
when we were growing up and words like cool and awesome were just
radical
entering the lexicon for the first time. Paulie, those were long established by the time you were in school.
Yes.
But like when people were saying, oh, that's cool, that was like new for us at some point. Awesome. That was very like 80s when
Awesome.
people called something that was awesome.
Dope.
Yeah, sus means suspicious. I get that. But what does skibbity mean? Bo's running around the house doing the
It
gritty.
has something to do with TikTok and videos.
He doesn't watch TikTok. He's 6 years old.
Okay, well,
I
other
don't watch-
kids at school watch TikTok.
There's no way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I guess they're 6th graders. They go, K through 6.
You hear a 6th grader say something that you've never heard
Skibbity.
before. You're like, well, that's cool.
Adam says his kids constantly say sus. It drives him crazy. You're sus, Dad. Stupid. That was us when we were kids, though. Doing the same thing.
It's good that they can identify and be skeptical of things.
What does skibbity mean?
It's like it's a Skibbity toilet. I don't know anything about
a Skibbity toilet?
I saw that yesterday online too, and I didn't know what it meant. A Skibbity toilet. I have no idea.
Skibbity means dumb.
It's a
Everyone's
web
saying. All right.
series on YouTube, videos and shorts.
This is an educational program.
It really is.
That's for sure.
Well, I want to make sure he's
dumb
not up
or stupid, says Vinny.
Okay, I want to make sure he's not doing anything or saying anything that's going to get him in any trouble. That kid literally gritties around the whole house. Everywhere he goes, Bo, go brush your teeth. Hits the gritty, walk into the bathroom. I'm like, this is it. He's like a little preteen, but he's only 6 years
So
old.
I guess these kids, they're beyond millennials now. Yet he says they're called Generation Alpha.
Oh, that's what they are?
I didn't know that. Or maybe Generation A1FA if you're at San Diego State,
That's
possibly.
right.
Is that Skibidy Toilet in our
that's like
YouTube chat?
From the videos.
Weird.
Skibidy.
What in the world?
You always you always feel like I'm not going to be that person who loses touch with what's
I'm
cool.
gone. I am so
But
far gone.
Everyone does. There's just no way to keep up with the newest and the latest.
The
once
trends,
you get
and I just,
into your 40s and 50s. It's impossible.
Yeah, all right. Well, Skibidy Toilet. He doesn't say Skibidy Toilet, though. He just says Skibidy.
Well, they always shorten things until
I guess.
Just absolutely,
It's too many,
confusing.
Too many vowels.
Yeah, too many vowels. Skibidy. All right. Well, Skibidy, everyone.
So
Happy Skibidy to you.
We got 4 games today, actually. All 4 series continue today in both the National League and American League playoffs. After days off, the ALDS resumes. First game is at 12:08 today. The Guardians sending Alex Cobb to the mound against the Detroit Tigers. So the Tigers are in actually pretty good spot because Tarek Skubal, who was the Game 2 winner, can come back in Game 5 on normal rest. So if the Tigers can just get one of the 2 at home, they know that they've got their ace and a chance in Game 5, even if it's on the road. So I think if you're a Detroit fan, you're looking like, I like the spot that we're in. If you're a Guardians fan, do you really, even with home field advantage, do you really want to have to face Skubal in a Game 5? You don't.
You don't.
So you feel like you got to sweep these next 2 games at Comerica Park for your best chance to win the series. And it's not easy to go on the road and win both. I mean, you're mostly trying to usually split when you go on the road for 2 games in a playoff series. So
we got 4 games today?
Yeah, I got 4 games today. Then the second game is Phillies-Mets at 2:08 on FS1. The Mets with a chance to clinch that series, now up 2-1. They won 7-2 yesterday. Pete Alonso went deep, of course, saved their season with his 9th-inning home run in Game 3 of the wild card series against the Brewers. He went deep in the second inning. Padres villain, if you want to like to use the phrase villain, Jesse Winker hit an absolute just annihilated a baseball into the upper deck at Citi Field in the 4th inning. And former Padre Sean Manaea pitched 7 more really, really good innings, allowing just 1 earned run as the Mets beat the Phillies 7-2 to push the Phillies to the brink of elimination. So you got the Phillies, who were clearly the best team in the first half of the season, and the Dodgers, who had the best record overall for the entire season, now both 1 game from being eliminated in the division series. And once again, starting that entire narrative about, well, those teams with the bye and the week off, this doesn't seem to be conducive to, helping them advance through the playoffs. And we'll have to sort through all the hot takes when it comes to maybe just the fact that they're just not as good or as hot right now as the teams that they're facing in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really cool little part of the story about Sean Manaea yesterday. He lost his aunt before the game, so he was pitching with a heavy heart, pitched his tail off, watched that game. I know how we all feel about Sean Manaea. It was really unfortunate what happened here. I hated it. I was so mad after, but this is pretty interesting. This is kind of the beauty of baseball. So check this out. So in the 5th inning, he strikes out Edmundo Sosa on a changeup. And catcher Francisco Alvarez said that was nasty. And from his perspective, as he was catching, he goes, "Good God, that was nasty. I'm gonna call more of these." And Manaea says, "Okay." So they're throwing it to left-handers. So he surprised Kyle Schwarber and Bryce Harper with a pitch. The 2 had reason not to suspect it. In 19 starts since dropping his arm slot, Manaea had thrown just 1 single changeup to a left-handed hitter. And then he fooled those guys. And again, you're up there. You know his repertoire. Remember what we talked about a couple of months ago when Robert Suarez was going through his troubles. We talked to Eno Saris, and I asked him, kind of half joking, is there a chance he's playing rope-a-dope right now? Obviously, you want to get out. So you don't want to ever give up home runs and blow saves and things like that. But obviously, there's been a concerted effort to incorporate the changeup a little bit more. How great is that to have a weapon that really nobody's seen and no one expects you to throw in the biggest moments of the season? Blowing a game in September or July or August, yeah, that sucks, man. I thought I could get him out with my fastball. I didn't. having the ability, like Sean Manaea and Robert Suarez, to say, well, here's a little wrinkle for you that you weren't expecting. Is there anything worse when you're playing baseball and a guy is throwing 2 pitches and then all of a sudden you come up for your second time and he breaks off a slider or a splitty or something that you hadn't seen and nobody else had seen? It's confounding. So the fact that these guys are able to do it in those high-pressure situations, those games, I mean, and it worked for him. I thought it was a really cool, brilliant little nugget.
Yeah, I didn't see that. What was the overall Suarez in terms of his pitch breakdown?
I don't know,
He had
but
that
he
great
threw-
change up to Muncie.
He threw some change
Yeah, he
ups.
threw, but he did also throw.
Threw some heaters.
He had a bunch of balls above 100.
Yep.
So it wasn't like he wasn't still relying on the fastball. He was, and he was clocking it up. His fastest pitch was 101.3, which was the fastest of the game. He threw another one at 100.9. Kopech had one at 100.5 as well. So that extra adrenaline in the playoffs is absolutely,
it's a thing,
absolutely real, and it is a thing. So that's the second game is Phillies, Mets. That's Rangers, Suarez, and Jose Quintana. And then the third game at 4:08. So they're kind of all going to be overlapping. Every 2 hours, there's another first pitch. Is going to be the Yankees at Royals. And that series, of course, also tied at a game apiece. Clark Schmidt for the Yankees and Seth Lugo, the former Padre, on the mound for the Royals. Maybe the second best pitcher in the American League this year behind Tarek Skubal.
Yeah.
And, the Royals are thinking, I would say this is a matchup where you go, I like our chances. We're back at home in front of that crowd. We can take a 2-1 series lead and push the Yankees to the brink of elimination today with a win.
Yeah. Who's on the bump for the Yankees?
Schmidt.
Schmidt. Oh, Clark Schmidt. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is one of those days where I love having a family, but this is one of those days I'd like to lock myself in my room for about 12 hours and do nothing but watch playoff baseball. I don't think it's going to be allowed, but I can dream. One can dream. We're nothing without our dreams.
Yeah, it's interesting, the overlapping, 2-hour staggered start time. So obviously most of those games will still be 7th, 8th inning by the time the next game starts.
Yeah.
So you kind of are going to have to just constantly cycle through
Back and forth,
the
back and
action
forth,
today
back and forth, yeah.
with all 4 games underway.
I was nervous last night because the first game was at 2:08, also on FS1. I'm like, what if this game goes long? Where are they putting the
They
Padres
just move
game?
it to some weird station,
Yeah,
right?
True TV
True
or
TV
something.
until the thing starts. But
Ugh.
holy cow, man! What a game last night! What a win! And now, again, on the brink of eliminating the Dodgers today with Dylan Cease on the bump against Landon Knack. And
I don't know
has that been
they
confirmed?
have
Oh,
not.
I thought it was.
Yeah, no.
no, he said it was a bullpen day.
Dave
That's
Roberts
right.
said it was a bullpen day.
That's right.
And that doesn't mean that Nat can't start and go a couple of innings.
Maybe
but
it goes the other way.
Made it sound like it would probably be someone else, but he did not announce who it would be starting that game.
So you got Arise, Tatis. You got Arise, Tatis, Profar. So, a lefty, a righty, the switch hitter. Don't know what that means, who that would be out of the pen for them. I know that he used Banda for more than one inning last night. But again, I got to imagine if you're the Dodgers, everybody's available. And I think Schulte, I heard him on Sammy Levitt's brilliant postgame last night. Schulte also said, no, everyone's good. We're good. We're going to be fine. Everyone's available. Like somebody asked him the question, hey, so you used Tanner Scott tonight. Is he going to be available? Like, yeah, he threw 8 pitches. He'll be ready to go tomorrow. And you can rest assured who he'll be facing tonight if need be.
Until it proven otherwise.
Correct.
He's
Just keep rolling it out there.
He's your Shohei Ohtani kryptonite for now. So
my dude is nasty.
I mean,
Knock on wood.
best case scenario, hopefully you only have to get him out maybe one more time for Tanner Scott and then move on to something else. So we will talk about the pitching matchup. Dylan Cease coming back on 3 days rest as well. That is coming up. Plus Bret Boone as we continue our Big League Wednesday. Booney will join us coming up at 8:35. You do not want to go anywhere. It is Ben and Woods. We're in the middle of October and a playoff run. There's nothing like it in San Diego on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, here we go.
Black 17 on.
That is my number.
All right, hit me.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
All right, here we go.
Black 17 on.
That is my number.
All right, hit me.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
Woods did have some injuries we're keeping an eye on both sides in this National League Division Series, and a new one last night. I was obviously concerned, I'm sure like other Padres fans, in the eighth inning when Manny Machado took a swing and obviously came up in some sort of pain. Manny, after making an out, went to the dugout and was seen getting some ministrations by the trainers.
Yeah, what was his knee?
He said it was his calf, and it was a cramp.
Really?
Just
Okay.
like, Just like Xander Bogaerts,
Man,
who cramped up a couple of days ago, was able to go in the lineup, of course, yesterday. But that's a couple of cramping issues for the Padres in the last 2 games.
Get some pickle juice in these boys. ASAP, man. Just guzzle pickle juice. You'll be fine. I watched him on that swing, and Hannah and I, it happened right in front of us, and he walked over, and he was doing the thing where he, was trying to put pressure. I thought it was on his knee. Oh no, because he's had knee surgery.
It looked like a knee.
That's what I thought. But then you said were they grinding on his calf in the
dugout? And then he was interviewed, I think by Fox after the game, and he said, "Yeah, just a cramp, not anything to be overly concerned about."
He's not unless something is dangling from him. You are not going to see that man.
So similar
come out
to
of a game.
Xander, I mean, if you're going to deal with an injury, that's you don't want to deal with anything, but cramps are probably on the smaller end of the skip. They hurt a lot. I mean, I've had them too. They are not fun. But in terms of lingering effects, it's not going to be as bad as I don't know, say like a torn groin muscle.
The thoughts that were racing through my head. Again, I trust Robert Suarez to get those outs, and he was fresh and ready to go, and he was great. But I thought to myself, what do? Is it Tyler Wade at third? Is it Donovan Solano at third? I have no idea. And I waited. Crony's out there getting his warm-up throws. Xander's out there getting his warm-ups. Manny hasn't come out yet. And then I saw him run out, and I thought, that's his Kirk Gibson moment, as Joe Davis would say. Yeah, like Willis Reed running out for the 3 more outs. Just fantastic. So hopefully he's okay. Like I said, get some pickle juice in you. You'll be good. Make sure you're hydrated for tonight. No more cramps.
The more serious at the moment, at least current injury concerns belong to the Dodgers, who had to remove Miguel Rojas from the game. They're starting shortstop. He has been dealing with, I guess, like a tear in his, what is that, the adductor groin kind of muscle. And obviously it popped up during that Padres rally in the second inning. They didn't take him out. Dave Roberts went out and checked on him. They did not take him out at the time, but then did ultimately end up removing him from the game. I think they moved Edman into shortstop as he's been bouncing. He's been bouncing back well for them. That was a good pickup at the trade deadline.
Very good.
In center field and shortstop for them. As you mentioned, they put in Pajes into the game instead of Kike Hernandez, who has come through for them in the clutch a lot. Chris Taylor hasn't seen much action in this series.
Night.
I think he came in at the end of game 1 as a defensive replacement, but the Dodgers have been sticking with their normal starters. Now, Freddie Freeman, as you saw, aggravated the ankle injury that he's playing through. And while he was heralded in game 1 for his amazing stolen base, and look at Freddie, playing hurt and running on that stolen base, it's definitely bothering him. And when he got pulled off the bag and had to jump for that double play and landed on that ankle, once again, it looks like this is something that unless he stops playing, which doesn't look like he's going to, is just going to keep getting worse and worse until the season is over. So you definitely want to keep a close eye on Freddie Freeman today as well. I would imagine he's going to be in the lineup with the Dodgers season on the line. I doubt you can keep him out of the lineup, but he's not 100% either. And the Dodgers also made a roster change yesterday. They put Michael Grove on their basically injured list. They took him off. Now, this had to be approved by Major League Baseball. When you make a change, they want to make sure that there's a legitimate injury. So the MLB medical director, Dr. Green, gave the sign-off that Michael Grove could be dropped from the roster, and then they added a right-handed pitcher by the name of Ben Kasparius, who I don't remember seeing during the regular season and did not pitch, but is available now for the rest of this series for the Dodgers. But Michael Grove cannot come back until at least the World Series. He's now out for this series and the next series as well because he was removed from the roster.
Yeah, and you wonder if the same type of deal will go on if there's anybody that's feeling some nagging injuries on the Padres, like an Alec Jacob or something like that, where you just may not need him, and he's hurt. He hurt his knee maybe.
But Dr. Green's got to make sure that that's documented. They can't just say someone's hurt. Dr. Green has his say-so.
All right, you be Dr. Green, and I'll be Alec Jacob.
All right. So, Alec, how's the knee feeling?
Oh, it's my neck.
Oh, it's your neck.
Yeah.
How's your neck feeling?
Stiff.
Stiff neck,
Oh,
huh?
can barely lift my head.
Have you gotten any x-rays on that? Can I see?
No, it's muscular.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it just, watch. Look.
What happens when I...
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Oh. I tried, lubed it up, was icy hot. It just, I can't watch this stuff. Look, I can't. Look at that.
I've had that before where you can only turn one way. You can't turn the other way. It is so
probably
awful.
Just talking about it.
Probably
It's
gonna,
so
yeah,
awful.
they're probably gonna need to replace me on the roster. I mean, come on, how serious and how detailed are these moves there at the end of these series?
So yeah, I mean they do have as we mentioned, Sean Reynolds who threw a simulated game the other day that they could activate if they needed another arm. Or maybe they're just getting them ready for potentially an NLCS if the playoffs do continue for the Padres. He would be an option going forward. But yeah, that's the quite extensive injury update on this series so far, and definitely something that the both teams are worried about. But I'd say the Dodgers are in more dire straits when it comes to their health at this point. And
I'm beyond nervous for tonight. I got like kind of an angel and a devil in the shoulder thing. I'm a little bit confident and a lot of bit nervous for tonight, but man, the Padres are sure positioned well with their pitching and their health for what we hope they can get accomplished.
Yeah,
tonight.
I mean, I thought 6-1 last night. I was going to be able to put my feet up and kick back and just have a great time and, grab my wife's butt
I'm
from
not
time to
predicting
time.
a stress-free night. That's
No,
all I
it
can,
will not
that's
be
all I can
stress-free.
say. So
No.
are you doing a TV hit
I
coming
am,
up here?
yes.
All right.
I am.
Woodsy's going to check out for a second to do television. We'll
Mr.
take a quick
TV
time
star.
out. And hopefully he comes back the same time Bret Boone joins us in our next segment as we continue our Big League Wednesday. Always great to get Boonie's perspective every week, and he will be with us when we come back with more Bennett Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Unlike some people, I think it's a great idea when one of our hosts appears on television. I encourage it as much as possible. It's good promotion, gets our brand out there. That's what Woods is doing right now. It's also what I do at least 5 nights a week. Yet, for some reason, I don't feel like Woods shares that sentiment and wishes I was actually on television less. But he's on TV right now doing his thing. He will be back momentarily. We got Bret Boone on the line, though, and we will chat with Booney here on a Big League Wednesday right after a check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Soapy Joe's, official car wash of the San Diego Padres. We'll get double trouble on westbound King Freeway now. Crash before Euclid. It's in the center divide, but now accident near the 805. And guess what? This involves a motorcycle. Several vehicles involved. It's in the center divide. Crash involving a motorcycle has cleared on northbound at 15 near Friars Road. Got this other crash up ahead before Claremont Mesa Boulevard. It's got the fast lane blocked. In the North County, Cordell and Cordell traffic cam shows collision on West 78 before Emerald. It's over to the right shoulder. Up ahead, they cleared that motorcycle accident near El Camino Real. Soapy Joe's Car Wash is celebrating the postseason, offering championship-style VIP savings for a limited time. Receive a free Magic Joe Car Wash valued at $25. Just text 94333. The official car wash of the San Diego Padres is Soapy Joe's. Good, clean fun. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
We are joined right now by Odyssey MLB insider Bret Boone. Insider calls are presented by Grainger with supplies and solutions for every industry. Grainger has the right product for you. Call clickgrainger.com or just stop by. Bret, the host of the Bret Boone podcast, featuring the most notable names in MLB and around sports every week. And Woodsy's currently outside doing some TV on Channel 51. Booney, he'll be back.
Time.
Yeah, he's big time. He'll be back in a second. I want to ask you though, as a former big leaguer who's participated in many big games, I've got to imagine, like in February, you're more than happy being retired and letting those guys go through, 6 weeks of spring training. Do you miss it, though, this time of the year when you see big games like last night, Padres and Dodgers in a full stadium? Is this when you kind of miss it the most?
I don't think it ever goes away. I mean, get rid of the physical and I'd be out there right now if I could still do it. But, we get old and it's a young man's game. But, yeah, without a doubt, this time of the year is, I was fortunate enough to play in a few of these and twice in postseason in Yankee Stadium, which I think is the ultimate place for this. But I'll tell you what, I'm watching Petco. It's pretty electric right now. You watch the games in Philly; they're unbelievable. San Diego has just turned into probably the biggest arena right now. From what I'm seeing from San Diego right now, that's about as raucous and as fun an atmosphere to play I think I've seen in a while. Philly a year ago it was that, and Arizona went in and upset them. But this time of year, there's nothing like it, and moving on series after series, it's pretty awesome. So yes, long answer, I do miss it.
It's incredible, Booney. I mean, I think The Athletic ranked the best playoff atmospheres among the 8 remaining teams, and they said San Diego. Petco Park was number 1, then Citizens Bank Park, and then I think you found that the New York teams, and then the Dodgers, and then the Royals, and I think the Tigers came in 8th. But, I grew up here going to watch games, watched you when you played for the Padres, and it was never like this. You always dreamed that maybe someday you get something close to this, but even in my wildest dreams as a Padres fan, I don't think I ever pictured this. It's so incredible to enjoy that atmosphere at Petco Park. It's amazing.
Well, it's a great stadium first and foremost, but I think something in the last 3 or 4 years, it's been kind of building. And the first formula to any city and having that type of atmosphere is success. Building a team that people get excited about. I think that the Padres obviously went into the coffers and spent a lot of money, and you've got some star type players that people want to come out and watch. I think it starts with that, and then you blend together what they've put together, what they've done this year, the type of season they put together, the guys on that roster, the way they're playing now, the went out at the trade deadline and just bolstered that bullpen to make it that power bullpen. And, it helps that it's the Dodgers. And the Dodgers and the San Francisco Giants, they've been kind of the built-in rivalry for years and years. And I'll tell you what now, it's changing a little bit. And now it's becoming L.A., San Diego. And it's pretty cool when you can get that rivalry and not the forced rivalry. We used to, when I was with the Mariners, the Mariners are always looking for a rival, and they tried to force us to be the San Diego Padres, and it just wasn't like that. I'd say in my time in Seattle, it was more of the Oakland A's. And that American League West in the early 2000s was the dominant division, and we had some good rivalries there. But this is kind of like they don't like each other, which is kind of cool. It makes for good theater. It's kind of rivaling that Yankee Boston from the early 2000s, the late 90s. And as a player, it gets heated. Obviously, we've seen in these last few games some questionable things going on, but that fires up the fans even more, and it just makes for a pretty electric atmosphere. I think it's pretty awesome.
As a player, it gets heated. So isn't it the manager's job to maybe turn that down a little bit? And what Dave Roberts did in turning up the heat on Manny. We've been talking about it for the last 2 days. And, the accusation that Manny was throwing a baseball at him, and then the response from the national media that Woods was just talking about on television as he comes back and joins us right now. As a player, did that disturb you or shock you at all, that what the Dodgers and Dave Roberts did?
I saw the first clip, and I saw the ball bouncing. Okay, you've got to go back to – and it's tough for me because I was flying, I was catching pieces of the game, and it was tough for me because I always don't jump to conclusions. People want to say, "Oh, he drilled him on purpose." Okay, the Flaherty punch out of Manny when he punched him out and then started screaming at him, going back. Yes. There had to be something going on there, something behind the scenes that we don't know. That's not normal for you to punch out a hitter. Manny didn't look at him. He just struck out and went back. Next thing you know, there's this heated F-bombs coming out of Flaherty's mouth. So that's pissing Manny off right there. If I'm a hitter and that happens, all right, I've got a problem with it now. Then I saw him throw the ball into the dugout, but I didn't see Manny throw it. I just saw the way it trickled in. And I thought with everything going on in the game and Profar pulling the deep to Betts, I just thought, all right, this is Manny's way of just kind of checking him. He's not trying to hurt anybody, and I don't think Manny's trying to hurt anybody with the ball. But I thought he was just kind of checking him, like just getting his attention. But then I saw it from the other camera. Manny threw it in pretty hard. I mean, he flung it in pretty hard.
Did you think?
That was towards me.
I thought he kind of skipped it. The second angle I saw, I was like, oh, that's nothing. The first one, I was like, whatever. The second one, I was like, oh, it's really nothing.
When it got to the dugout, it had no. No, there was no. Here's what I'm saying. I would never go after, unless a manager had a personal thing with me. If I've got a problem with a player, no holds barred. Right. Do whatever you want. But when it comes to the skipper, unless the skipper physically did something to you, I'm never going to go there. If we're out in a fight and the skipper throws a punch at me, well, then you're a player now.
You just became a player.
But I'll tell you, Manny's kind of been controversial his whole career.
Yeah.
He's kind of found a place to rub people wrong and kind of done some shady things. I love Manny Machado. I think he's a great player. But look at his history. He does some shady stuff on that field. He always has.
Yeah, we've been talking about this.
We've been talking about this like crazy. Like,
I'll tell you what, if some of the things that's happened in Manny's career and I'm on the opposing team, I got a big problem.
Of course.
And I'm just saying from history. I'm just saying from history.
But ancient
history.
And
it doesn't matter. It doesn't need to go beyond the field. You handle stuff on the field. When you get those heated arguments, I'll meet you outside, I'll meet you after the game. Okay. Yeah, we're going to do that.
Does that ever happen?
The actual meeting? No, there is no meeting.
Because I know that it was
Adames?
It was Adames and Winker, and Adames was like, it was the exact same situation.
He literally was waiting in the parking lot.
I will see you outside. And he actually went to the parking lot to wait.
But no, right. And I think stuff like that's happened, but nothing's ever come to fruition. from it.
And you're talking about reputation, right? And again, like we did a piece where Rosenthal wrote about Bryce Harper, right? Bryce Harper has absolutely charged the mound. Bryce Harper has thrown a helmet at a player. The perceptions of Bryce Harper are different than the perceptions of Manny Machado. And you know what? You can read into that. And why should they be?
Because Manny's done some things that Bryce Harper in the moment, he threw the helmet, but he threw it away from him. He didn't try to hit him.
Well, Manny lightly clipped Jesus Aguilar's foot, and people thought that he took a bat to him.
That's not a lightly clip.
Harper's own teammate choked him out in the dugout.
Yes.
Huh?
Papelbon.
I can charge the mound as long as you know me and you are going mano a mano. There's no holds barred there. That's no problem with it. You step on a guy's foot on the way down the line.
Step
when he's in the middle of a play. To me, that's a different level.
All right. I mean, look, I said, it's people have their perceptions. I see it different.
I'm just telling you the perception that players have.
Sure, I get it. And so that's
players have a different, whether we like it or not. And he's our guy. He's a Padre, whether you like it or not. The reputations of Harper amongst the players and Manny Machado is different.
I think
that's just the way.
And you'd know more than we would, but the perception lately has been switching. Like Trevor Plouffe went on his show with Chris Rose and was talking about how respected Manny is among players these days. And back then, when he was 21, hell yeah, he threw that bat. Hell yeah, he charged the mound. It's different.
I don't mind charging the mound. You can charge the mound all you want.
Yeah.
I have no disrespect. As long as we know where we're at as players. If we get in a fight on the field, you're not going to lose respect from me. You do it in a dirty way, you're going to get a reputation.
But like you
said, you square up.
Like you said,
nobody's going to have a problem with you. And I think players do. I'm not piling on Manny right now. I'm just telling you the way it is. And the fact that Manny's got that reputation. Without a doubt, he's respected. He's a great player.
Well, and Brett, you're wearing it in our chat right now, which is fine. You're certainly entitled to your opinion, and you've earned that with your status. But I also see players go, and when they get to third base with Manny, they look up to Manny. I mean, I feel like he's a very well-respected and liked player around the league. He's not sus, as the kids say nowadays.
Yeah. Don't sus me. My kid was sus me the other day.
I got it.
I know what it means.
I know. We were talking about it earlier. But I don't get the sense that Manny has that general reputation. Yeah, he's got a bit of a history, as many other players like Bryce Harper do. But I look at Manny as someone who truly is someone who we don't even understand how much players respect his work ethic and what he's done and how he plays the game.
Yeah, Merrill loves him.
Well, I think we're conflating it. Manny the player, he's trending towards a Hall of Fame player.
Yeah.
This guy's a great player. What he's done in the game, absolutely he's got the respect on that field. But your past is always going to be your past. Things you've done in the past, they're going to stay with you. Now, I'm not going to – I can tell you what the reputation is amongst players. That being said, I'm not on the ground. I'm not in that clubhouse right now with this current crop of players.
That's fair.
Talk to players that have retired recently, older players in the game. They have an opinion. So I'm not going to sit here and say I know all just because I was a player in the big leagues for a long time. That doesn't mean I know everything. I'm just saying the perception I get from people I've talked to through the years. And yes, I think he's a different guy now than he was when he was 22 years old.
No doubt.
Without a doubt.
He's
grown up, he's matured, and he's a great player. And I have no problem with Manny Machado whatsoever. I'm just saying this is the way it is. And it's not.
Well,
people do truly look at Bryce Harper and Manny Machado in a different light. Both well respected, but they do look at them different.
Yeah, and there's no question. And again,
but I don't know that they should.
That's kind of the underlying thing here is I don't know that they necessarily should all the time. And but anyway, as far as the psychological move. That Dave Roberts employed. It was terrible. You thought it was the psychological move that Dave did, taking that, running it to Major League Baseball. I thought was really the wrong move on his part.
It's kind of a little ticky tacky. It's like, come on,
let's
get it going. I think what the Padres have done, I mean, I was hearing somebody explain it last night, and I kind of agree. It's like the Dodgers have been the big brother for a long time, and all of a sudden, these Padres and the way, not only because I think they're the best team in the postseason, but the way they've played, they've got under the skin of these Dodgers. You can see it in the interviews. It's like right now they're beating the Dodgers in the mental game.
No doubt.
It's like Dodgers are kind of scared of the Padres, and they kind of flip the script on them, which I think psychologically playing this game, man, when you get between the lines, it's let's get it, and it doesn't matter. The animosity, it's almost like they kind of don't like each other now. But at the same time, the Padres have the upper hand. I think as an athlete, there's no better position to be in. Respect the players, respect the game. But if you've got another team really genuinely not liking you and you kind of getting their goat and getting under their skin, man, there's nothing better than that. From a team aspect, I've been on teams like that. I've been on teams where the other team kind of had the mental edge over that. It's not a good feeling to have. I think right now the Padres have that. It's pretty cool thing to watch.
It is.
And I watch Cease coming back now. I think he's coming back on 3 days rest.
Yep.
And the Dodgers are undecided. I mean, I don't know who they're going to go with. I'm looking at this matchup. It's like you went through Flaherty, Yamamoto, for the Dodgers. And where are you going to go? Where are you going to go today? Where are you going to go tonight? You know, it's going to be interesting to see how this matchups. And I don't think Cease pitched his best last time out, but him taking the ball tonight, 3 days rest, kind of old school. I love it. This Padre team. I mean, and I watched that game last night, and it just goes like the script was played out. You get a great pitch game from King, and you hand it to that bullpen, and it's just like 1, 2, 3, and they end up beating them. I thought it was pretty cool the way they jumped on them early. Kind of got some bad breaks with Buehler early in the game.
Took advantage.
It's 6-1.
Took
and
advantage.
It's 6-1, but the way the Dodgers came right back and made it 6-5 was awesome. But then the Padres pitched, and their bullpen, the way it's set up, they finished it the way they're supposed to. It's pretty awesome series. I'm looking at all these series. I mean, who the hell thought the Kansas City Royals were going to be threatening the Yankees in the second round, the Tigers in Cleveland? I think that Cleveland team's really good. Mets beating the Phillies?
Insane.
Mets weren't supposed to be in the postseason. And they're sticking it to the Phillies. They're 2-1 right now. They just find a way. I think this postseason's been awesome, and I think that's the reason there's so much excitement out there.
Booney, we are out of time. Appreciate you. This will go down as your most controversial appearance on our show.
It is.
For sure.
Because, Ben, I feel bad because you always say, hey, Booney, they're really being nice to you in the chat.
I pity your social media mentions later today, man. You might just want to stay off of Twitter for a little bit.
Hey, listen.
Have a good one, man.
They'll get over it.
I respect Manny. It is what it is.
Love you, buddy. Be well.
You know, a little conflict is sometimes good for the soul. We
can't all be glazing in here.
We will react to that and get a Reindl Report when we come back here. Sorry, everybody, on 97.3 The Fan. Where'd the TV star go? I mean, he was just here a second ago, and now Woodsy's gone again.
Now he's the bathroom star.
Woods, you realize that we do have a show to do, and you already missed part of a segment doing some television in our last segment, and now you're gone again. Hello,
You should
welcome back.
Go to the bathroom at the beginning of the commercial break.
Not the end of the
when we're
commercial
coming
break.
back.
He's got a lot of
time.
things. He's just got a lot of things to get out, and sometimes he speaks for like 3 or 4 minutes. Then he goes to the restroom.
It's true.
It does happen from time to time. All right. Well, that was something with Bret Boone. I see our chat, and you're not pleased out there with Bret's opinions about Bryce Harper, Manny Machado. All I can tell you is that there are a lot of baseball players who are going to think that way, and that's I think the perception that we're trying to fight against here. And I'd rather fight against it directly and tell Bret what we think and why we disagree with him than simply not talk to him about it at all.
Yeah,
So but I understand why you're frustrated out there.
I get it too. Trust me. I mean, who's the biggest Manny fan in town? You're looking at him right here. My cat's named Manny. We're a whole Manny family. Listen, it is the perception, and yeah, you got to fight against it sometimes because we know truly what he is.
Again, you said it yesterday. I thought it was one of your really great points that for Dave Roberts to then add fuel to that perception, one that Manny has worked really hard to change the narrative. The Roberto Clemente nominee, everything that Mike Schilt said about him yesterday, we played that audio earlier, years and years, never once having an incident of any nature off the field at all, other than being a great guy, a dad, a husband, someone who supports his community and has been terrific for San Diego for years and years. And honestly, on the field, there has been almost nothing with Manny. I mean, every baseball player has some things that happen to them over the course of the season. But as hard as he has worked to just cavalierly use that as a motivational strategy, whatever you want to call it, to not understand that has real repercussions on Manny Machado that will go far beyond this series. For Dave, maybe he'll forget about it in a couple of days. Hey, I'm just trying to win a game, do whatever it takes to win. That's my job as manager. But that will fuel then for more years, the thought of Manny Machado. It might even sway the perception of some Hall of Fame voters in, 15 years when Manny's name is on the ballot and should be getting in, and wonder if there will be people who don't because they'll remember all of the narratives that were said about Manny Machado and not accurately as well. That's why words are important and words do mean things, and you can't just say, well, it's just words. Doesn't really matter because they do. They do matter.
Let me say something. I watched from home the series against the Atlanta Braves. Marcell Ozuna has a sinister past. That's sinister. Sinister. We saw the video. I didn't hear one effing word. I didn't read one effing word about it. Didn't hear about any transgressions. Didn't hear about any incidents. When Marcell Ozuna was playing for the Braves a week ago, here, no national story. That's a sinister past. What Marcelo Ozuna has done twice is sinister. Correct? Am I wrong?
Nope. No, you're not wrong at all.
Did you guys hear anything?
No, not
I didn't hear a word. Not a word about that. Now, again, nobody's perfect. But when there's video evidence that we all can see with our own eyes, why wasn't that brought up in the in-game interview? Why wasn't that brought up in an article? That's sinister, period. Anything Manny has done is not sinister. Okay? And so
Has he crossed a competitive line in his career a couple of times?
Chippy?
You can make
chippy?
that argument one way or the other.
Dude, is he chippy? Yes. Was Jack Flaherty chippy the other night?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Was Walker Buehler chippy last night when he went and destroyed the dugout? What are we talking about here? We know. We know the difference, guys. We know the difference. We know what it is. We know what it is.
Has Max Muncy ever been called a dancing peacock when he's out doing this on first
right.
base?
It's just insane. It's just insane. So I think I think, I'm over talking about it, but again, you gotta see the whole picture there. And again, I watched both games, and not a word, nary a word was mentioned about Marcell Ozuna. Nothing. But Fernando Tatis's PED suspension was, Manny Machado's slide into his buddy, Arcia, the incident that happened 13 years ago with Josh Donaldson, noted good guy, Josh Donaldson, noted non-chippy PRIC, okay, Josh Donaldson, right? What are we talking about? Manny should be lauded as a hero for going after Josh Donaldson. That guy's one of the worst guys to ever play in the big leagues, human being-wise. What are we talking about here? So it pisses me off, as you can tell. Let's be fair and balanced. It's not. It's not fair and balanced at all.
All we can do is keep fighting the good fight and trying to change people's minds one at a time.
Yep.
And we'll start with Bret Boone, which we attempted to do, and maybe I thought made a couple of points that he'll think over, hopefully, going forward.
Yep.
All right, appreciate everyone sticking with us. Let's get some more baseball news and headlines with Paulie. It's time for today's Reindl Report.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul. All right.
Two stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And one story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report.
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
On 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a oh yeah? Oh yeah.
All right. It is the Reindl Report, brought to you this morning by Hamul Casino. Woodsy, you've been waiting for this all morning long. The fly ball heard around the world.
So I was at the game. I missed this. My phone went bananas. Our buddy Max, who lives in L.A. and is a huge Padres fan. He was the showrunner for the brilliant TV show Dave. I love Max so much. Texted me last night. He goes, I know you're at the game. Wait till you hear this. Wait till you hear it.
This was
the glazing of Shohei Ohtani on a fly ball.
Top of the fifth inning. 3-2 count. Nobody out.
Okay.
Padres leading 6-5. Michael King is on the hill. And Shohei Ohtani is at the plate. Just listen to your FS1 broadcast.
Tying run at the plate in the fifth. Ohtani waits on it, sends it in the air, deep center field, Merrill to the edge of the track. He's got just enough room.
Boy, Ohtani was ready for it. That was a great pitch. Backdoor after seeing a pitch fade away. He went backdoor breaking ball, and this is why this dude is a stud.
Why?
Because most people might have given up on that. He did not.
Well, you touched on it at the start of the game, John. 2 of his 3 home runs against King have looked like that the other way.
Yeah.
It was a fly ball. Merrill caught it.
3-2. 3-2, and it was kind of a little bit of a hanger. Now, it didn't hang over the middle. It did hang over the outside corner, and he put a good swing on it. But, I mean, did you hear John Smoltz? This is why this guy's a stud. Because he can hit a hanging sweeper off the outer third. The guy's 6'6", with an arm span of a condor, and he hit that fly ball. He hit that fly ball to center. Not a lot of guys are going to be able to do that in the big leagues. Not a lot of guys are going to be able to hit a fly ball to the warning track. You got to be kidding me, dude. Just say, oh, man, great pitch, got under a little bit, inning's over. My phone went nuts. So, you're not going to believe this, dude. They're glazing this guy over a fly ball.
Wasn't robbed. It wasn't a home run that Merrill brought back.
It is nuts.
Fly ball.
Really
it wasn't
nuts.
a sacrifice. Yeah. It didn't move a runner over.
Hey, you guys tell me, man. 3-2. Is a guy like Shohei Ohtani going to be ready to swing 3-2? Is he going to be ready to look for something to hit, put it in contact?
So that fly out in the fifth inning had an exit velocity of 103.5 miles an hour and an expected batting average of around 700. I'm assuming then, and I didn't hear the broadcast either, that 2 innings later, when Fernando Tatis Jr. hit one at 104.6 miles an hour with a 650 expected batting average, and it was caught at the warning track in center field, that they were equally in awe of Fernando Tatis Jr.'s ability to hit a deep fly ball. Am I correct on that, or am I
Correct.
not correct on that?
Correct.
I'm not sure, but both teams do have the ability to hit hard flyouts.
This is great.
In this series.
Jeffrey says in the chat, you know what you can glaze? Kyle Schwarber's home run 2 years ago. No doubt. That was one. Even we were there. I was there.
I was there.
I was like,
It was
that was
oh
awesome.
my God.
I was like, that was awesome.
It was prodigious.
That's the hardest home run I've ever seen.
It was awesome, dude. It was awesome.
And just that was the hardest hit ball in postseason StatCast history. Just a reminder, the second hardest ball was Tatis's ground ball double at Dodger Stadium in the history of StatCast postseason. 119.
119. It was incredible. Yeah, the Kyle Schwarber bomb was, hey, I know, it sucks. They beat us. It was awesome. It was awesome. Shohei's
literally didn't know a ball could get up there, that was like a thing that could happen at Petco Park.
Shohei's flyout, look, he's a great player. It was not awesome. It was not awesome.
It didn't make him a stud.
It doesn't make him a stud.
He's got a million other reasons why he was a stud.
It was the sixth hardest hit ball of the night. It was not any remarkable moment in baseball history.
It was just a flyout, man. And I get it. I get it. He's brilliant. He's brilliant. He's a great player. But talk about his brilliance. Talk about the great things that he does. A fly ball is not one of them. It's just not.
So from the MLB playoffs to local college baseball, I was a little bit surprised yesterday when I saw this news.
Awesome.
Sean Cole is the head coach for San Diego State baseball and made quite an announcement yesterday talking about, in addition to his coaching staff, former All-Star, former Padres closer Mark Melanson has been named the Aztecs pitching development coordinator. I don't know exactly what that all entails and how it differentiates from a pitching coach, but he is going to be the new SDSU pitching development coordinator. Sean Cole, the head coach at our program, is very fortunate and thrilled to have Mark join our coaching staff. He will assist in all aspects of our pitching development. Most importantly, Mark is a great person and a role model. He finished his degree while rehabilitating with the New York Yankees. This speaks highly about his work ethic, discipline, and desire to be great beyond the baseball field. He's going to impact our program, coaches, and student athletes on and off the field.
That's cool.
Does this mean, obviously the big question, does this mean he's going to be able to pursue his true passion here in San Diego, which of course is turf installation?
That's right.
Remember, Mark Melanson has a turf company in Florida.
That's right.
That he, in the offseason, just shows up 9 to 5, answers the phones, helps
door to door,
the contractor goes and wants to help install the turf in your backyard.
He puts that woman repeller hat on and he goes out and he lays turf in your yard. You're like, that's Mark Melanson? No, it's actually him.
That woman with the what is it, the tough turtle turf that she does with the pink. She's got some competition coming to town. Because Mark Melanson, he's the king of turf in Florida, and now he's coming to San Diego.
It's just a big work so they can get his turf company in here.
So I was trying to think. He's not from San Diego. He's from Colorado originally. He played 13 years on 11 different teams. He had 1 year here in San Diego. To me, this is I've tried everywhere else, and I don't want to go back to San Diego. They'll pay me, and I'll have a job at San Diego State.
Yeah,
cool, I'm taking it, and I can move back to San Diego.
He takes one step onto Tony Gwynn Stadium's field, and he goes, "Oh, this is turf.
I like
this is all wrong."
We're gonna fix the turf.
I'll get this all dialed in here real
fix
quick.
The turf up. I loved having Melanson. That was just after COVID. We might have still been in the Corona cave and got the whole story on his passion for turf.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're one of the pitchers there at San Diego State, you're like, hell yeah, dude, this guy's been in some massive games and big leaguer. This is cool. I like that a lot.
Finally, Woodsy, I know you're not a hiker.
No, I'm not a one for hiking, really.
But I've got a solution to your hiking woes, and maybe this can sway you on hiking.
Okay. Nude hiking.
I've got a pair of pants that have just been released that will do the hiking for you.
Oh, you just moves your feet.
So,
They're like the Jetsons.
Yeah.
They used to just have things that just did everything for you.
They're called Mogo pants, which is short for mountain goat, and it's from a startup company called Skip. They're working with an outerwear brand called Arc'teryx, and these $5,000 pants, by the way, have AI-powered. They're AI-powered hiking pants. I kind of like. I was trying to think all morning of a fair comp. It's kind of like the bicycles. And then now they have the bikes with the motors on it that you can kind of pedal along.
Yeah.
They're doing, the engine's doing most
It's
of
doing
it.
90%
sort of
of it.
walking, but the pants are actually
doing
like
the work.
carrying you
It's
around.
a moving sidewalk.
Yeah.
Is what it is. It's a moving sidewalk in your pants.
These pants, and I just threw a graphic of them up in the YouTube stream. They have an what is it called?
Skeleton?
Exoskeletal.
A built-in exoskeleton on each pant leg that's going to help push you
Yes.
while you're going uphill. It says they lighten the load and protect your knees while coming downhill.
Brilliant.
Use this for
Downhill's way
golfing
worse.
at Goat Hill.
Downhill
This
is
perfect.
Downhill
significantly
is
worse.
When we were in San Francisco for the Padres Giants, we did the walk up the hill. It was like, whoa, you get to the top, you're like, oh man, I feel good. Got the heart rate. Then the walk down, you have to do the side shimmy because your knees are. You're like, all right, I'm gonna die.
Or you just start going faster and
Yeah,
faster, and then
faster.
you let it go, and you're like, I'm going to crash here at the end.
$5,000. You must. Hey, listen. If you love hiking and you're getting a little bit older or whatever,
Sure.
and you want to keep it rolling, yeah, they're magic legs. This is brilliant.
Now,
It's part of a trend they're calling it move wear, clothing that quite literally helps you move.
Wow, that's really cool.
Now, does this diminish the health benefits of walking when the pants are walking for you?
I don't think so. I
You
think-
still get the exercise, or
don't you?
I
Or
think it's
not?
just
Does
helping.
it not count anymore? Like if I get my steps in, like I want to set a new steps record on my, my
still get your
Apple
step.
Watch or whatever. Do I still get credit for my steps if my pants are actually doing the walking for me?
I think you do.
These
Because
are
your
my
legs are
magic
still
pants.
moving, your heart's still working, I think. Yeah, get your heart rate up.
Does
I love
it?
it.
I
I
don't
need to
know.
go for a walk today. I have not been taking care of
Get you
myself.
some $5,000 pants.
I'm literally thinking about it. Like, just so you know, I'm legitimately thinking about it. Because Hannah loves to hike, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, we know what Woods' next endorsement may be for.
What is it called again?
It is called the Mogo pants.
Hey guys, it's your old pal Woods from Mogo. Listen. Sometimes you want to keep the good vibes going, and you want to take a walk, but your knees they're barking at you a little bit, and you're getting up there in age. Try the Mogo pants, $49.99 a month for 700 months at 27% interest. You'll be back to hiking Torrey Pines in no time. Oh, I would love those. If you're listening, send me a pair to try because I would like very much to wear those.
You'll post
Very
it on
much.
social media at some point.
Very, very much.
Thank you, Paulie. We will take a timeout. When we come back after traffic, we do have some more tickets to give away to Sublime with Rome coming to Gallagher Square, and we will look ahead to Game 4. Can't believe it's tonight. We've got another one.
Could have used another day.
Tonight at Petco Park. A chance to clinch the series and move on to the NLCS. All coming up with Bennett Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Hamul Casino. Fun above all else.
All right, here we go.
Black 17 on.
That is my number.
Padres are going to be aggressive in their choice of starting pitchers tonight. Dylan Cease going to be pitching on 3 days rest, and he will be going up against a still-to-be-determined starter, probably reliever for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Dave Roberts announced yesterday going to be a bullpen game to save their season. This is it for the LA Dodgers. They need to win tonight and a Game 5, or the massive investment that they made this last offseason will once again come up short, and there will be a lot of questions to answer. Clearly they were hit hard by injuries this season. There's no doubt about that. It's not even excuse making to point it out. It's just a fact. They were hit hard by injuries this season. However, if you're truly Woods as well run of an organization as people around baseball seem to think the Dodgers are, part of being well run is having contingencies and backup plans for when the inevitable injuries do occur. Yeah. And they weren't surprised. They weren't surprised that Tyler Glasnow got hurt.
How could you be?
They were anticipating it. They shut him down during the season. They really did know that it was very much a possibility. It just happened to occur at just the time that they didn't want it to occur when they needed him most in the playoffs. Could they have handled it differently? Maybe. Maybe you go back and make some different choices. Walker Buehler, they were very excited about getting him back. Has not been the same pitcher that he was before his second Tommy John surgery. Other guys who could have been around and have not been around, Gonsolin, different options that were part of their rotation in the past have not panned out the way that they were hoping. Dustin May came back and had the esophageal
perforated
injury,
esophagus.
kind of unexpected as well. So they have dealt with a lot of injuries. I still don't know, though, if their season comes to an end, that there won't be some sort of reckoning, for the fan base, for the sanity of those people up in Los Angeles. What are they going to do if it doesn't work out this year? Will they just point and say, we're well set up for next year? We've got Shohei Ohtani on a long-term deal.
Yeah.
He will be probably pitching now and joining our starting rotation and, adding that two-way dimension. We will be favorites. Likely, to win the National League and have the best record in baseball when they show up again in spring training next year. And that probably is all true when they, will come back. What can you do about a team that is the favorite every year, wins the most games every year, and then comes to October and cannot get it done every single year? It actually is kind of a dilemma, and one that doesn't have any simple answers.
Talk about it tomorrow.
Fair enough. Not there yet.
I agree.
Not there yet.
Tomorrow.
All right, we do have some tickets to give away. We have not been playing Take on Woods this week. It will come back at some point. Don't worry. Take on Woods always brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes, and you don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. It just felt like we've had so much playoff stuff to get to that haven't wanted to stop down for music trivia this week.
No,
but it'll be
it's
back.
been insane, man.
But if you want to win the tickets to Sublime with Rome at Gallagher Square on November 23rd, you can call in now. Third caller, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Win a pair of tickets, Sublime with Rome at Gallagher Square on November 23rd. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. All right, we'll come back in our final segment. I will tell you, and I was not, the numbers for pitchers on short rest in the playoffs, even some of the best in the game, are not
Is this what I
particularly
Great.
good.
Do I want to hear this?
So when we come back, I'm going to tell you that why, despite those numbers, I've decided I love this decision from Mike Schilt to pitch Dylan Cease in Game 4 tonight. We'll get that when we come back here on 97.3 The Fan. Promise you, I'm not trying to stress you out with the numbers I'm going to share here on short rest starts in the postseason because, again, I think this is a good idea for Mike Schultz starting Dylan Cease tonight. Before we get to that, this segment of Ben and Woods is brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. Buffalo Wild Wings is football, and B-Dubs is kicking off football season with 2 limited-time sauces. Try their new Buffalo Bacon Sauce for bold notes of smoky bacon, or get the fan-favorite hot barbecue before it's gone. Try them at your local B-Dubs, or order now for takeout and delivery with Buffalo Wild Wings. Go. Yeah, historically, Woods, the numbers aren't great. Now, not every postseason start on short rest is equal. You can kind of look it up by the numbers, but sometimes you had a guy come in relief and then come back out and start 3 days later. I found a piece that analyzed, at least, tried to cut through the noise and find guys who truly made a start and then started on 3 days rest in the postseason.
Okay.
And this was like a 15-year sample, and they found about 50 to 60 like legitimate 3-day rest starts. And what they found is that generally those guys did not pitch as well as they normally did. There were some exceptions. The Kurt Schilling performances in 2001. Chris Carpenter did it well in 2011.
Bumgarner.
Yeah, Tim Wakefield has done it. Bumgarner's done it. But for the most part, guys with the short rest pitched to just under a 5 ERA, and more than half the time couldn't even put together a quality start, which is not at 6 innings, 3 runs. So you're not really expecting ace-like stuff, even from aces, when they come back on short rest. Dylan Cease has never done it. So why do I still think this is a good idea? We'll get to that after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Ulta Beauty. Got a couple problems on the coastline. Northbound 5 before La Costa, tow truck is clearing a crash from the right lanes. And on the southbound side, just past Poinsettia, there's a collision involving a couple vehicles there over to the right shoulder. Also West 78 at the northbound 5 connector. Rev reports of a stalled car over to the right shoulder. Westbound King Freeway, an accident at the clearing stage. Watch out for a little residual slowing there. And westbound 54 before Woodman, there is a collision in the center divide. The Emerald City came to Ulta Beauty with wicked collaborations from REM Beauty by Ariana Grande. It brushes for Ulta and OPI. Hurry in. These fantabulous products won't last long. See Wicked, November 22nd, only in theaters. Ulta Beauty. The possibilities are beautiful. I'm Kelly Danik with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Now, what do you think here, Woods? I mean, you have a rested and ready Martin Perez who has, postseason and World Series experience and would be eagerly ready to take the ball and make that start tonight and try to clinch the series for the San Diego Padres. You've got that option. You've also got a deep bullpen, which you used a lot of yesterday, but you didn't use Brian Hoeing. You didn't use Adrian Morejon. You didn't use Wandy Peralta. You have guys who are rested and ready and could give you, probably multiple innings in terms of at least Morejon and Hoeing could probably give you 2, at least, both of those guys, if you wanted to go with the bullpen type game like the Dodgers are doing. So why are the Padres going with Dylan Cease, and what did you think when you heard that news?
I thought you're going for the jugular here. You don't want to go back to L.A. You just don't. And I think even a Dylan Cease on 3 days rest has better stuff than any of those guys. It's a risk. It's a risk. There's no doubt. But you're not going to win a World Series without taking risks. Last night, using Robert Suarez for a 4-out save was a risk. And, it's not Mike Schilt's not in the alley throwing dice, risking his paycheck. You know what I'm saying? These are calculated risks. These are decisions that have been poured over. It doesn't mean, though, that even if you run the best pitcher in the world out on regular rest, Michael King, who thought Michael King was going to give up 5 runs last night? I didn't. I did not. I thought Michael King was giving us 6, 7, for sure, based on what I'd seen before. Baseball sucks. It sucks. It's very, very difficult to figure out, very difficult to prognosticate what's going to happen. Impossible, in fact, to prognosticate. So this, to me, says we're going for it now. We are done. We want to win, we want to rest, and we want to wait for who is coming for us. And I think it's kind of a kill shot move. I think it's kind of a move that says, no, I'm going to be aggressive. Schulte knows they're not throwing Yamamoto today. He knows they're not throwing Flaherty again. He knows what they have as well. He knows they got Landon Knack and a few guys in the bullpen, and he thinks this is our best chance to win. That's why I'm going with Dylan Cease.
All right, I actually kind of disagree. I see where you're going, but I kind of disagree. What's the goal now for the San Diego Padres? They're up 2-1.
Got to win a game.
You have to win 1 out of
2
games.
Yeah.
So you have 2 chances.
Yeah.
To win 1 game. That's all you need to do to go on to the National League Championship Series. You have 3 starting pitchers to divide amongst those 2 games.
Yep.
Yu Darvish cannot start on 2 days rest today. So you have 2 choices today. If you want Yu Darvish to be able to start one of these 2 games, the only option then is for him to start the next game.
Right.
So it's either Martin Perez and Yu Darvish or Martin Perez and Dylan Cease in that case. And to me, I think it's a pretty easy choice that if you've got 2 games that define your season and you need to win one of them, I want Dylan Cease and Yu Darvish to be starting those games. No offense to Martin Perez.
Sure.
But the only way I can get those 2 guys on the mound for those 2 games is this particular combination of starts. Dylan Cease on 3 days rest and then Yu Darvish on regular 4 days rest if they needed it on Friday.
Well, he threw 82 pitches on Saturday in Game 1.
He didn't go 115 pitches.
I'm not
he didn't
expecting
go 7
him
innings.
to go 6 innings,
No.
120 pitches tonight. I'm expecting if it's almost like an opener or a bullpen game with a starting pitcher starting it out. I would not be surprised at all if he gives you 3 quality innings and he's gone.
Yeah, I don't. Again, it's all going to it's all going to be dependent on the situation because you hung a 6 spot on them last night. You know what they're capable of. They showed you last night they can single you to death. They played good defense last night, except for the that 1 inning. But think about some of the plays in center field last night. The catch that Edmund made before he moved to short. They buckled down too. So they're a good team. I think their offense is capable of scoring 10 runs. Easily. No problem. It's the Dodgers, man. Still, I know they're banged up, but you want one of your best arms out there, and Dylan Cease is one of your best arms.
Let me give you a couple of other factors that I was considering as I decided to come around and really support this decision. I don't think, and we'll never know for sure, but Dylan Cease's struggles in game one did not seem to me because of over-fatigue.
No, it was overuse.
I think, if anything, he was too amped up, and perhaps starting on 3 days rest could dial him right back into where you want Dylan Cease to be, not over-amped up. There's going to be a lot of adrenaline and a lot of emotion playing at Petco Park in front of that crowd. Feel like that'll give him whatever he needs, even on 3 days rest. The other thing, and I found this in the same piece when I was looking at the numbers, they also looked what happens after the short start. If a pitcher goes on and then pitches again in the postseason, do they suffer in the future after going on 3 days rest? If you need him again 5 days to pitch in the NLCS and the World Series, is it going to hurt him going forward? And the numbers have shown no. Generally, pitchers who pitch on short rest, once they get their regular rest, go right back to being the pitchers that they are.
Nice.
So you're not expecting any lingering effect. You may.
It's a risk for tonight.
It's a risk
but not
for
a
tonight,
risk for...
and it is. It's absolutely a risk for tonight. But afterwards, it doesn't really seem to have a big impact on pitchers going forward.
Yeah, and it certainly doesn't reek of desperation either at all. It doesn't. It says to me, you didn't have a great outing in Dodger Stadium. Do you want the ball? Do you want the opportunity? Dylan wants the opportunity to do this. I trust Dylan, and most importantly, I trust Mike Schilt.
That's why you went and got him.
That's just why you went and got Dylan Cease. So
I do think he'll be, as Paulie kind of mentioned, I think he'll be on a shorter leash than usual.
Bro,
Ruben Niebla will be
100%.
watching for any signs that he's not Dylan Cease, and if that's the case, hey, Martin Perez, you may have to come in and pitch 3 or 4 innings and give the Padres a little bit of length. You have experience to do it. That's why he's here.
Yeah,
but he was not acquired at the deadline to be pitching decisive playoff series games. He was an innings eater who did a phenomenal job, but it was never his job to pitch in the biggest games of the season. And
Martin Perez, you mean? Yeah.
Martin Perez.
Yeah.
That was Dylan Cease's job.
The opposite.
That's why you traded for him for big games like today, and why you have guys like you, Darvish, who just proved himself at Dodger Stadium. He's never lost on the playoffs and the road at Dodger Stadium, and he's done it like 2 or 3 times now. He seems like the right choice if you did have to go. And hopefully you don't. And you're going for it today. But you do have a good backup plan if for some reason it didn't work out and you had to go to a Game 5.
Yeah, I'm not nervous about tonight's game because Dylan Cease is on the bump. Dylan Cease at Dodger Stadium was a bit of a rough watch, and it wasn't economical at all, and did get beat by Shohei Ohtani. And yeah, man, I mean, that's Shohei Ohtani's probably happy. You see a guy a few days ago and hit an absolute tank off of him. Yeah, you're excited to get in the box again. Hasn't been the world's greatest series for Ohtani either. Since the home run, he's had a couple of broken bat hits, and the Padres have done a really good job at neutralizing him. But Dylan Cease, I really like the matchups against Mookie Betts. I like Freeman hit him well too. So I mean, look, this is a big challenge for Dylan tonight. But yeah, man, and somebody said, what about an opener? Okay, I'm fine with. I would have been fine with that too. I would have been fine with a Morejon to kick off the game. I would have been fine with
It's an interesting thought in bringing, starting with a Morejon to attack the lefties at the top of their lineup, and then bringing in Dylan Cease.
Sure.
But now you're both pitching Dylan Cease on short rest, and you're pitching him out of the bullpen in an unfamiliar situation. Maybe that's a little too much to ask of one guy. If you're going to pitch him on short rest, at least let him warm up like normal, go out in the first inning like normal, and set up his game. He's a starting pitcher. He's not a reliever. Let's be a little bit cautious on that. That would be kind of, I would imagine, part of the equation with Ruben and Mike Schilt, and why they're not going to go with the opener and then come in with Dylan Cease after that.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, it is absolutely a risk on Mike Schilt's part, but I like the aggressive moves. We've said it for years. Let's get a manager that makes strong moves. And you think if Dylan Cease doesn't go out and perform as well as he's capable of tonight, do you think Mike Schilt's going to regret it for a second?
Do you think he's going to lose sleep over it?
No, he doesn't lose sleep.
I don't think he's been losing a lot of sleep over his decisions.
It's not a bad thing to want to try and avoid at any cost an elimination game.
Correct.
In the playoffs.
That's exactly right.
You can't throw everything out there in Game 4 because you do have a potential Game 5.
Yeah,
but you don't want to go up.
Finally, if I'm And I oftentimes think that decisions in sports, whether it's a football coach or a baseball manager, it's a good way to frame it. What does my opponent not want me to do?
Right.
And if I'm the Dodgers, if I'm Dodger fans,
I'm
kind of hoping
Perez.
Martin Perez is starting and not Dylan Cease.
All day.
Can it backfire on the Padres? Absolutely.
Yeah,
but
man.
there's no one in that Dodgers dugout who's going, oh, good. We get to face Dylan Cease
Even
tonight.
on short rest.
It's short rest. We're going to own this guy. They're not happy to see Dylan Cease and the nasty stuff that he has. It's like when you're watching a football game. I was talking with my buddy Matt Janella. When it's 4th and 1 and you're hoping they don't go for it, like, I hope this team punts. That means the other team probably should go for it. When you're hoping that they don't go for it, then the right decision is probably go for it. This is the Padres going for it on 4th and 1 because the Dodgers, they don't want them to go for it on 4th and 1. They know that the Padres are in a good spot, and they're trying to put themselves in an even better spot with Dylan Cease on the mound in this game tonight.
Yeah, for sure, man. I like the move. And look,
Now, when you get stopped on 4th and 1 in that situation,
it sucks.
It turns the momentum a little bit, and it could give the Dodgers some life and some, obviously some confidence if they do get to Dylan Cease. That's the risk.
What I won't do if the Padres lose this game is come in here tomorrow and bitch about not starting Martin Perez, right? I won't.
Nope.
At all. I mean, not even a little. I won't come in, man, son of a gun, man. You really should have started. I love Martin Perez. One of my favorite acquisitions. Dude gets it. Ready to go, ready to be called on, at a moment's notice. Pitched really well down the stretch for us. But I will not come in here tomorrow and be upset that we did not start Martin Perez, and neither should you. This is why you got Dylan Cease. Dylan Cease needs to go out and get the job done tonight. Padres bats need to continue to do what they've done and put up runs off these guys because, again, you don't know what you're facing today, and you don't know what you're going to get. Roberts is going to be really, really aggressive as he has been, so. Going to be good, man.
Yeah,
I'm excited for it.
Martin Perez had a lot of good starts, but, Rockies, Pirates, Giants, White Sox. This is the Dodgers lineup.
Sure.
Dodgers have, good hitters who take good at-bats and are dangerous. It's not exactly the same. Now, to Perez's credit, he shut down the Tigers in September 5th. This is a Detroit Tigers team that we didn't know it at the time, but was absolutely going to be on fire. Shut them down. Pitched fairly well against the Mets in a shorter outing. I mean, he's done it against some playoff teams as well. But I think ultimately you're going to have a lot more confidence with Dylan Cease on the mound in this game.
Yeah, and you're talking, and you can kind of already see it if it doesn't work out tonight. That we could have saved Cease and Darvish for a Game 5. And again, then you're asking both guys, one or both guys, to do something they're not accustomed to doing. Yes, you would have an extra day's rest. In my opinion, I honestly think starting Martin Perez today would be more of a we're getting cute. We're saving some guys for the next series. Tempting fate a little bit. This one I look at and go, that's aggressive, and I like aggressive. You've been aggressive all year. Don't change a thing. So he has full-throated support from me.
As for the Dodgers,
not that matters, but
Padres are going to have to find a way to score some runs against the Dodgers bullpen, but they can't just throw Kopech and Trinan for 9 innings. They're going to have to
you'll
dig.
See Trinan, though.
But you're going to see him. But they're going to have to dig deeper into the well. And with a bullpen game, what always makes you nervous is, all right, this guy was good. I wonder if the next guy is going to be good. I wonder if the next. All it takes is one guy really to have that off night, and all of a sudden, Padres do their thing and have a power of friendship inning against one guy who comes in. And Kopech came in the other day, walked a couple of guys. I mean, it doesn't take a lot for a reliever who's off, and you're throwing the dice with like 7 or 8 of them going out there and saying, don't make any mistakes because our season's over. All 7 of you. Probably a few of them will have really good nights and throw up 1, 2, 3 innings against the Padres. It only takes 1 or 2 guys to mess up, and the Padres can put 5 or 6 runs on the board and end the Dodgers season tonight.
And again, depending on what they do, were you guys surprised at all that we talked about it on the show yesterday? How aggressive is Schilt going to be with his bench? And Hannah and I were talking about it, and I said, leaving Peralta in to face Anthony Banda. Banda K'd him up, made him look foolish. I'm like, Solano there? I go, no, it's too close of a game. too close of a game. Knowing that Vesey is still down there.
I was thinking about that as well. But who is Stillano going to pinch hit for later in the game? Is Jake? I mean,
Peralta,
Jake had 2 hits. Peralta, but I mean, he would have already been in there.
Right.
If you can use him earlier.
Yep.
Gentlemen,
kiss the
Kiss
roach,
it, baby. Let's finish this out tonight. How about that?
Hey, real quick, I know who you're rooting for in the late game tonight. Who you guys rooting for, Mets or Phillies?
Phillies, make him go 5.
Yeah.
Make it as tough as possible.
Stretch it out.
Annie and Elston will have all their thoughts coming up next with Braden. Don't go anywhere. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 here on 97.3 The Fan.